What is going on, everybody? This is episode 170 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. I'm very excited to be back with you and two very special, beloved guests.
The level of excitement was actually kind of incredible to me. I was very, very pumped because Mary is very neutral most of the time. She contains her excitement. But we are here with a very special guest. Would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sorry, Chet Hanks isn't getting here for another few hours, but yeah. I'm glad I could take his spot for now. I know you were really excited for Chet to show up.
It's a bit of a disappointment, but I like you too, I guess.
He said the private jet's incoming, all right.
Okay.
I'm Lauren, by the way.
That is Lauren, and she. I got a message this morning that basically said Lauren is coming on the show today, and I was like,
No, we planned this for months in advance.
Yes.
Don't reveal our secrets.
We're having fun, and we have another guest here. Would you introduce yourself, sir?
What's up? It's good to be back. It's been a long time. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's
we
been
missed
like
you.
a month.
We
I
missed
know.
you, Shane.
I know. Well, I'm Shane. I write Tales from the Inverted World, and we're about to release episode 5 Sunday. Yeah, 10 a.m.
What's the name of that one?
The episode? Oof, that's a good question. It's going to be, this one is The Funeral at the End of the World, and it's part 2, and it's got some crazy stuff in it.
And where will they be able to find it?
That's at timcast.com.
Perfect.
Yeah. Exclusively.
That was a good plug, like right early on in the show.
Yeah.
Don't make them.
I'm going to keep saying it throughout the episode, just randomly.
And you just cut it like in the middle of your sentence. You just cut into whatever you're talking about. That'd be great. All right, so we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Grand Theft Auto 6 and the continued neutering of anything that's fun in American culture, as we found out. After that, we're going to talk about the movie Bullet Train, which I'm actually fairly excited for. It comes out next week. And some problems that people have with the casting in that movie, problems that I knew were going to happen as soon as they announced. Thank you. Did you see that? I was waiting for Lauren's reaction.
Well, you had to sit in the line of fire.
Yeah, you can keep that now.
I'll stay in the line of fire. That's all right. Although, this is, no, it's not Monopoly money. I'm rich now. Thanks.
No, you're rich. That's very real money.
She's very rich now. So we've got that. So we're going to talk about the casting with Bullet Train, and then after that, we're going to talk about Sydney Sweeney and some problems that she has with her finance. She's broke. She's on Euphoria, and she's broke. So we're going to do that. We're going to do Podluck. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if you guys are ready, we will just get right into it. Are you ready, Mary?
Oh, we're ready.
Lauren, are you ready?
Never been readier.
More readier.
Don't talk to me.
Jay.
Yeah, let's go.
But first,
we've
got some Chet.
We
got Chet formations.
What we found out earlier is that Lauren may be a woman of culture, but she's never heard of. She is uninitiated to the joys of the world that is Chet Hanks. So the first thing we're going to look at today is his newest story, which my favorite part being that he seemed to do it right after a workout. Like he gets done.
He's out of breath and he's just screaming.
And his motto is you have to stay sober and get jacked. So if you're going to do that, what better way to tell people your story than by doing it right after you work out?
Yes.
So we were going to go through and we were going to talk about what Chet had to say at like 3 a.m. when he got up.
So which excuse is it today? Which is gonna be the one that you pick and put on like your fucking clothes this morning for why you can't do it? For why you can't do it, the fucking simple things that you know you have to. Just show up. What's gonna be the one you pick? You're fucking tired. You're tired? I'm fucking tired too. But I'm not as tired in my body as I am of living knowing that I'm a half-assed bitch. Nothing makes me more tired than that. And a funny thing happened today. I actually woke up at 4:30 by myself.
He switches the angle to the other side of his face.
I just wake up at 4:30.
It's like the Blair Witch.
Having less than 3 hours of sleep. Now how is that? How the fuck is that? That I could naturally wake up without even my alarm going off 15 minutes before my set wake up time. It's because that higher self is becoming ingrained in me. It's becoming ingrained in the fabric of my fucking being, which is the point of this whole shit.
So true, King.
I love it.
Today, knowing that it would be difficult for me to wake up, I set like 6 fucking alarms. First one at 4:45, but I just wake up naturally at 4:30.
You just wait for the
alarm. My higher
alarm.
self knows that it's going to be difficult this morning, and he needs me to wake the fuck up. Because I gotta fucking hold my word, and I gotta set the example to you guys So without even me having to fucking have my alarm go off, my higher self just goes, wake up! Wake the fuck up. So I can prove to you guys that this shit can be done. Let's fucking get it. If you're ready to have that higher self start integrating, downloading into your fucking being, stone cold fucking sober, you think you need to fucking go take ayahuasca? Or fucking trip on microdose on shrooms or acid to feel some type of fucking high level fucking spiritual mystical experience. Guess what? I'm feeling this shit 24 fucking 7 at 4 fucking
I'm getting intimidated.
4:30 in the morning.
I feel like he's walking around me just staring at me, huffing and puffing.
Quit the fucking excuses.
Sergeant.
Let's get it.
Wow, I just made that my new alarm.
The best part
24.
is if you use an Instagram story for more than a minute, it stops and you have to start over, which means he at least once had to like finish, keep being out of breath, and restart the story.
Incredible.
That is dedication to one's craft.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. I love how emotive he is.
It's not
He's
easy.
just a real human being.
He's
like
the new Jordan
real-ass
Peterson.
dude.
I
He's
can
very
relate.
motivating.
I can relate.
Yeah,
My
he's really
higher
good.
self woke me up at 11 a.m. this morning and told me I had to go eat pancakes. And, that's integrated into my soul.
See,
Me and Chet are one.
Lauren's
We're
like, I
alike.
had my alarm set for noon, but I got up at 11 because my higher self said I needed
Wake up!
pancakes this morning.
Wake up!
I just
Wake
heard
up!
Chet Hanks in the back of my head screaming.
That's what you need. Everyone needs that. And so Chet,
He's
again,
replaced my internal monologue. It's just Chet.
there's that great video from like Aiden Paladin where she talks about how there's people who don't have internal monologues. Now I'm picturing that.
I'm not an
there's-
NPC. I'm just a Chet PC.
There's two types of people now. There's people that have no inner monologue, and then those who have Chet Hanks as their inner monologue.
True. Did you know there are people that can't visualize things either?
They
I did
can't
not know that.
visualize
Yeah,
like
they
a
just, like-
three-dimensional apple.
Yeah, they view things as
Yeah.
like binary code, and they only discovered this because there was an artist who got in a car crash who lost the ability to visualize,
wow.
and then doctors were like, "Oh shit, like this is a thing." Like you can't. You literally they just think like binary code says beach equals sandy, sky equals this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how you know who the NPCs are.
Yeah,
That's
scary. They
insane.
walk among us.
Yeah.
Could be one of us
Among
here.
us?
Yeah.
Among us.
So it's kind of like who is it? Phineas Gage got the railroad spike through his head, and then it changed his personality completely. Like I wonder if the car accident caused that for
Yeah.
that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So-
people who wake up speak Russian all of a sudden.
Yeah.
They can
Weird.
be ballet dancers all of a sudden. Yeah.
All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about today, now that we've done our Chet Hanks Chet formations and we're all ready to get started today, we're going to talk about how American culture is once again losing another staple, and that's Grand Theft Auto. So it says sources claim that that Rockstar Games plans to introduce female protagonists and neuter offensive content that punches down in Grand Theft Auto 6. I did T-Rex hands already.
hands.
The idea here is basically you can't have anything fun anymore. There is no fun anymore, and the culture of the workspace. Like we were talking yesterday about Shawn Mendes, and like he's like, I'm taking a break for my mental health. I wonder if like sometimes you just have to have like a horrible environment to create certain things that end up being important. Right?
Oh, like the crunch time
Yeah,
culture
yeah,
in
that's-
games?
Yeah,
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because they talk about it in the article.
I mean,
here.
I looked at the Bloomberg article that this one referenced, and the title of it calls it a frat boy culture at Rockstar Games. And I feel like that this is them not being able to decide how they want to stereotype these people in the video games industry. Are they basement dwelling incels, or are they these like chatted up frat boys who are like misogynist pricks?
Both to them.
Pick one.
They think both. They think both. And basically,
Their irreverence is basically not allowed anymore.
no, you're not allowed to have fun. And there was originally going to be a mode for the game that was like called Cops and Robbers, where like you can be in bands of cops or bands of robbers.
That was insensitive because of something that happened in 2020.
yes,
The same group anyway.
Yes. So it says, after the death of George Floyd and subsequent riots, the studio allegedly halted plans for the Cops and Crooks mode for Grand Theft Auto Online. Senior executives were concerned how releasing such a mode, where team players fought against each other in teams of police officers and criminals, would be taken at the time. The problem is the game isn't even out yet, and it's now been close to 3 years since then, and culture changes so fast here. We talked about that yesterday.
This is like Ezra Miller's The Flash
Yeah.
in video games.
Ezra Miller is so fun.
We talk about him so much.
He's so fun.
he gets
What
a
a
lot
wild
of
ride.
It's just still a developing story, by the way.
Is
He
he
gets a lot of
still
airplay.
menacing Hawaii?
No, he went to his farm in Vermont and then started housing a single mom and her 3 children between ages of 1 and 5.
Does he still have the like indigenous girl he kidnapped?
Yes.
Possibly at the farm.
At the cult.
And
I love when people start cults. That's
he's
my
just
favorite.
the new Jim Jones.
That's so fun.
The best
But they
part-
have like bullets and guns strewn about the place. He has an illegal cannabis company. And
Well, at least Hawaii
The
is
dad
safe.
of those children is still in Hawaii trying to get custody. It's crazy.
Have you ever gotten those like force pushed notifications on your phone? There was just a shooting near my house the other day, and it went like beep beep beep.
like an
Stay out of
Amber
this area.
alert?
Yeah, I feel like every time he arrives in Hawaii, there should be one
Everyone,
of those alerts.
yeah.
That's like
Take cover, Ezra's
Do
here.
not
Ezra Miller.
enter any bars,
Nukes
and
going on.
for the love of God, don't do karaoke because
Hide your
he
kids.
will beat you up.
Ezra Miller landed in Hawaii. It's like Pearl Harbor again.
Oh no!
My favorite was the one of him, like, it's like they're showing like his mugshot on the TV and the camera pans and it's him at like another bar
He's
outside
just,
a house.
He's just vibing.
while
Like, he's
while they're
just-
looking at his degeneracy on the TV. That's a vibe.
Did he ever get arrested when they were looking for him?
Oh yeah. Oh
that-
no,
that-
no,
that-
no, no,
not
not
since
that.
they
no.
started looking for
No.
him to serve him papers.
Did they ever serve him?
No, not to
man.
my knowledge.
They never confirmed whether they actually served him papers or not. Just that they were trying to, and it doesn't matter anyways because the girl's over 18 and the protective order that they got didn't really.
But there's
have
another
anything-
protective order for someone who's currently 12 years old.
The 12 years
So-
old. Yeah.
I thought it was hysterical. What a based
Yeah.
move to come out and say like the police are actively looking for you, and he just puts out on his Instagram, "Can't touch me. I'm in another realm."
Yeah, Ezra
I am
Miller's
on
secretly
so much
based.
drugs. I have ascended to another realm where the police cannot
He
touch
is
me.
literally like the guy with the AR-15 on his weed farm with his husband.
with all his kidnapped children.
Yeah.
minus the kidnapped children
The
part. He's the
libertarian
libertarian
dream,
poster boy.
right?
Yeah, they're like he wants.
I mean,
to,
maybe with the children. I don't know.
If he just put the children in bauxite mines, he'd be okay. Not violating any NAP. Get them to sign contracts under duress. No worries.
So does the part about them changing the culture around the games? Do you think that ends up making a product inferior by by proxy, just because they can't control how the products are getting made now? And the moment you stifle creativity, it stops being organic.
Yeah, it seems like they couldn't even fulfill the whole map they were building, right?
Yeah. And without crunch time and
Yeah.
actually limiting, allowing these people to actually live lives, they're not getting products out in time.
Yeah.
So they have to be treated like slaves?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is
Are
that
you like
Yes.
pro
No, I'm not. What
game
what
developer slavery?
What
Yes.
I'm saying is
Sweatshops.
that there's a certain amount of is the mental health benefits, like these companies, they talk about
Well,
earlier
you
on.
have, free days for menstrual leave, so
Yes.
that should make up for it, right?
And the idea that for them, like, you either party hard, they talk about how it was a frat boy culture and that everyone there would basically work their asses off and then to blow off steam, go to the strip club. Why must that change? If the people who were doing it loved it, does it really have to change?
If they were still doing that, we would have a side quest where you got to play as George Floyd.
that would
Oh,
be
yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
dark.
Yes.
And you get to choose, am I going to use the fake pill or not?
Yes.
Am I going to resist arrest? Am I going to
The-
take 4 times the lethal dose of fentanyl?
The more trouble you get in, the authorities actually help you. Yeah. Everyone gives you money.
They also talk about how they're going to stop punching down in jokes, and that's a huge problem to me. It's like
And
the whole point is that these
I need
jokes
an
used to be
example
for
because I need to
everyone.
understand what they mean by punching down.
That you can that you can't depict any group in any negative light unless it's I guess you'd say straight white men. That's probably what they're talking about here.
Well, yeah, because all of the diversity stuff, it's never pro-diversity. It's just getting rid of white dudes.
yeah.
Yeah. Who looked good in
The
Grand
industries
Theft
that
Auto
they
ever,
lead.
though? But who ever looked good in Grand Theft
Thank
Auto?
you.
Did anyone?
Well, there was a meme that says there was a guy who posted to their official Twitter account where they're going to be less insensitive to other groups. He's like, we are now going to be less insensitive to you racially as we run you over with a truck in
Right.
the game.
What
Like,
about
Yeah.
sex
it makes
workers?
no sense to the
Right.
actual message.
They
Yeah.
disparage sex workers in GTA.
Yes.
What's their excuse
well,
for
they
that?
they also censored.
I would say they gave them a voice.
yes. Well,
Oh,
They're
really?
there.
A
Yeah, they're on the
platform.
street. Yeah.
It says in the-
necessary.
There was a thing in an old thing of Grand Theft
you.
Auto where they appear to have disabled the trans caricatures or drag queens from spawning outside.
Oh, gosh.
So the idea here is Grand Theft Auto kind of satirized all of American culture at once. Like, all the characters were hyper unrealistic versions of what you would imagine a MAGA hat wearing Trump supporter would look like. They censored the Confederate flag. They took the Confederate flag out of the other version of the game. It's like,
See, even when you're poking fun at it, you can't include it.
Yeah, this would be fun. I think the female protagonist idea is a fun thing. Like if you made her like, you know, you get to play as a hooker or whatever and go through her adventures of like going sleeping with and killing guys and taking their money or whatever. Like just obviously have everyone as degenerate as everyone else.
But then
the problem is, they're gonna get mad and be like, we're portraying this woman as this like horrible person that's like sleeping with men to kill them and steal their money. This is disgusting. She has to be some Mary Sue BS character, and then all the guys get to be trash, which is equal representation of degeneracy. I want to be represented in this game, but I want to. It's all our worst
That's when
selves.
the consultants come in and they're like, "This is degrading to women. I don't know if you should release this."
Cardi B is a real person who drugged
This is Cardi B simulator.
She drugged plenty of men to rob them, and she's lauded as
she's
a
open about it too.
She's very she doesn't care. She's like if we're
I'm
going
sure
to
she'd appreciate it.
Yeah, if
She'd
you're allowed,
appreciate the cameo.
how would that not be like so like just equality, right? If you're allowed to like drive over your hookers with your car in this game, then you know having a Cardi B character that gets to do that stuff would just be like perfect equality. That is feminism right there.
They make her a downloadable character that you can play in the game. That'd be incredible. she just goes around and drugs men and drops them.
But by the same principle, what about female James Bond that sleeps with a bunch of men?
Because that's a set character.
That's an established character.
That's
I would
an
say.
established character that you're taking.
Yeah.
If they want to create some female character with a name that's not like Jamie Bond, as long as it's not, and have her sleep with a bunch of men while going on spy missions, I don't think it actually taps into what the the James Bond is the male power fantasy.
The problem is they'd get like 3 movies in and she'd be pregnant by the 3rd movie, and then they just have to cut it. And,
and then they have to figure out like
Bond
who's
gets an
going
abortion.
to whoever her version of Moneypenny is will have to babysit the baby while she goes out on spy missions. Doesn't that sound like fun? Isn't that what you want to go spend $10,000 at the movies to go see? No, it is not. Nobody wants to see that. So the culture around the industry is changing, and I complain about this a lot. And what you said earlier actually rings kind of true. I do kind of get annoyed when people are like, I'm taking a break for my health. I'm like, oh, you baby. Like, I know that that's insensitive, and I don't really mean it per se, but I understand now that, like, I look at a lot of these. There was an article in an actor today who passed away a lot of years ago because he worked so hard and turned to drugs rather than actually getting help for himself. I don't encourage that or want that to happen in culture, but I do wonder sometimes if a lot of these people like Shawn Mendes, like people are not going to those concerts now. Money has to be refunded now because you took a break. Did you not sign up for an obligation?
There's a lot more collateral damage in Shawn Mendes breaking off his tour and not returning to it because of all the people that are involved in all these venues and his tour. Like that's a machine in and of itself. But do you remember what the company was that allowed the paid menstrual leave days, unlimited paid menstrual leave?
That was I think that might have been Blizzard.
It wasn't Rockstar,
It
right?
might have been Blizzard that offered that. But Blizzard's also the one that had the Cosby Suite and all the bad behavior. It's all the video game companies were just filled with bad behavior because it was an industry that blew up very, very fast, made tons of money, and when you make a bunch of immature people rich very, very quickly, bad stuff tends to happen. As we know.
Is it bad though?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Okay.
Well, it's sort of like that movie The Social Network where it's like you have that punk rock kind of work culture, but is that tenable long term?
No, it's not. And that's the thing. Is like, is this like the corporate structure of it just kind of stifling what made it unique? Not just on the aspect of like their work conditions, because their work conditions should be something that anyone can manage. At the same time, they choose to work those hours, those days. Nobody's making them work that jobs. But does it end up stifling the creativity of the work? Yes. I would say that what they're doing here and the reaction that I'm seeing from anyone who loved past versions of Grand Theft Auto proves that it's going to stifle creativity, and it makes it inauthentic, and people can spot inauthentic a mile away.
Yeah.
Like if there's one thing that you don't really, it's interesting to talk about here, like you don't know why something comes off as fake or inauthentic, but you know, and you can't put it into words why. Like you see it in movies. Like I was watching, I talk about like rewatching The Wire. Everything about The Wire felt authentic in the way it portrayed everyone as kind of a good guy and a bad guy. Now you could make that same show, and just the time period it's being made in, knowing how executives in that industry work now, it would never come off as authentic the same way it did back then.
Yeah, because you can't have complicated characters anymore.
Nope.
They have to be good guys and bad guys spelled out clearly for people, because half of it is political propaganda, not real stories, sadly.
That's what we were talking about with Stranger Things yesterday, where people are theorizing that they edited out this scene of Jonathan Byers taking a photograph of Nancy Wheeler undressing in her window, in her boyfriend's window. And they think they edited that out retroactively so that people wouldn't go back to that season later on and give them backlash for having this scene that's like so degrading to women. It makes him look like a perv. And it's like, yeah, the scene made him look like a perv because he's a flawed character. He's a teenager in it. They're both teenagers. He's a flawed character.
And I pointed back to
why is that
to the
not
Sandlot.
able to be portrayed anymore?
Human beings are complex and do messed up stuff sometimes, even people who are good.
And I pointed to like the character in The Sandlot who like fakes drowning so that he can kiss Wendy Peppercorn on the lips. And it's like, would that fly now? Absolutely not.
This is like kindergarten level moralizing.
Yes, and it's very, very boring to me.
No, it'll kill the art.
My favorite character in TV is like Cersei Lannister,
Oh,
because she was
man.
one of the first like
So
females
good.
that I saw.
Yes.
It was like a mother portrayed as also having this like extremely dark, messed up side, but still such a powerful character. I was like, whoa.
One of the best intros to any episode ever is when she's standing in the room when they're about to explode. That giant.
Yes.
It's like, the music is perfect.
Boom.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh man.
What a cool character.
She was
I
great,
love, make, that's the thing that people don't realize is they look at all of these like, oh, we got to portray people progressively. Some of the most progressive things you can do is being willing to portray minorities as villains.
Oh yeah.
Like,
How dare
actually,
you.
we understand you're not just
Yeah.
these, surface level bullshit
And
characters.
they
You're
did that
complex
well
human beings.
back in the day. They used to do that very, very well,
Yeah.
while also portraying them. They're capable of being good guys too, because that's human nature. It's not unique to any one group.
And I don't think you can truly be good if you don't even know, if you don't have a side of yourself that you're fighting against that is bad.
Yeah.
Because like you're not really overcoming anything. You don't really have that character arc of.
Right. That's where the complexity comes in.
Yeah,
and when that's not there, that's when you know it's inauthentic.
The main characters in The Wire, all the cops would drive drunk, like like very, very, like I mean,
just like real life.
The implication is there. They don't show them doing that, but they're out like in like an empty like train yard drinking, very clearly inebriated. Like they have to drive to get home. They're putting other people's lives at risk because they're complex characters that are interesting to watch. It gets very boring when everybody's either one side or the other because you know it's coming even before it happens. Nobody wants that, and it's why I have such a problem with most of entertainment today, and all the stuff that I tend to watch is older, because the new stuff's like, you know who's going to be good right off the bat, you know who's going to be bad right off the bat, and there will never deviate for the fear of the 12 psychos on Twitter who will eventually come and tell you that what you did is hurting or damaging some
it's punching
somebody.
down,
and they hate that. They hate they want to only be able to punch at above your station,
who they believe to be above.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how demeaning is that? Like, any joke you make about my sex is punching down because, like, we're just inherently below. Cool, great. Who's really spreading the idea that women are lesser here?
Yeah, they just expose their own,
to reel it back to GTA, though, there are no complex characters in GTA. There's no character development in GTA.
It's not supposed
this
to be.
isn't something that we need to worry about.
Those writers are watching right now. They're like,
Nor is it something that you should like.
This is such a navel gazing behavior that we want there to be complexity in Grand Theft Auto. Dude.
Makes no sense.
It was never created for that purpose.
No.
It's like humanizing. It was like I was watching like one of the old original Scream movies the other day. I'm like, they didn't need to humanize those characters either. You're a serial killer. Like I'm like, he talks about that in the movie. He says like it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, and I'm fine with that. Like I don't think every character needs to be redeemed, and nor does it have to be super complex if it's a bad guy.
Right.
So, super chats.
Chris said, 1,000 nations of the Chet Empire descend upon you. Our arrows will blot out the
Thank
sun.
You. That
Indeed.
A better rallying cry has never been said.
Johnny Beck sent us a couple of thumbs up messages. Thank you for that. Hobbit said, mandatory F-bomb time.
That's because we try to avoid swearing, but Chet gets the F-bomb pass.
That's what we pass out on pop culture is the F-bomb.
My DMs with Chet look so creepy. It's just like, come on the show, Chet. Come on the show.
Do it,
Straight
Chet.
up harassment.
We need you.
K42X said, for Lauren's expensive whiskey in a paper cup fund.
True, we did finish it all yesterday.
Howdy Shane, try to check out the Skinwalker's Ranch in a future season.
Yeah, definitely.
Have
looking
thoughts
into
on
it. Yeah.
Wayward Soul said, I grew up on the Texas-Mexico border. Some of the most badass gangsters were the cholas with the painted-on eyebrows and black lipstick. I'm digging the GTA 6 vibe.
As long as they do not censor the actual humor in the show.
We'll see.
And everyone should be allowed to be their own form of offensive in those games.
Alex Making Beds said, some peppy money for Lauren.
We should have brought up.
I'm like super sober. This studio sucks until you get me pappy here.
we should have brought some upstairs.
Edison Wild sent us a super chat with no message. Thank you. Joseph said, Shane Simp reporting for duty.
Nice.
You got
Wow.
Simps in the chat.
Oh,
whoa.
thank you.
Hava Owens.
Collecting
like
Sims, yeah.
Hava Owens said GTA 6 will have a lesbian big booty Latina hero. Oh, we can only hope.
HOC. It'll be
HOOOOC.
Yes.
Hobbit said, adding degeneracy to the PCC daily word or name list.
See, the other day I said all three
Do we
of the
say
names.
it that often?
The other day I said all three names at once, and I realized that was a mistake afterwards, because if I had, who knows if he would have, maybe he left the chat as soon as I said all three names at the same time. I should have kept him guessing till the end of the show whether we would reveal those three names on the show. She does not know the names, but we're not going to speak.
What are the names?
We can't speak them because then he gets a pass. And
Oh,
then
they're Ezra Miller, Johnny Depp, and Amber Heard.
no, you gave.
Sorry.
Oh, I guess you guys are obsessed, so you gotta chill out.
Yeah, like they keep it count. We already mentioned Ezra though, so whatever.
One of three. Well, one of four now.
Bad App. I wish I could read that so badly because it's funny. I don't want to say it because it's YouTube.
To you two, Bad App has a habit of sending super chats in which we cannot read on air because it is inappropriate.
Can we read a Teletubby version of it?
You're supposed to punch down to hurt hookers. Is that
to
far?
Minecraft female sex workers?
As long as you can say anything on the internet, as long as you say
In
it in a
Minecraft,
video game.
yeah.
In Minecraft, you're sorted. You're good.
Nathan Koss said Game of Thrones encapsulates modern entertainment perfectly. It started out amazing because it didn't compromise and it defied expectations in all the right ways. Then modern sensibilities came along. I don't know if I just
And
I
the last,
agree
it
with
was
that.
one of the worst
The
series
last
finales I've ever seen in my life.
Benioff and Weiss. Thanks,
Why was it
guys.
so bad?
It just seemed like they wrote it in 2 minutes. No, there was nothing.
There's a great video of them doing the
Nothing.
table read for that, and everybody who's on the show just looks miserable. Like, this is awful. Like you can tell that they think the dialogue is terrible.
It made no sense.
Yeah.
Nate.
Thank you.
Nate Descharnes said, GTA and The Wire is how I learned about the world.
Dude, man after my own heart right there.
Dark stuff. Chris said, Shane, any news on an EPUB version of your book?
I have been talking about it, and we're going to get it ready. I promise. Because I know there's a lot of you, and I appreciate this, that we don't want to support Amazon. And I want you guys to be able to have the book. So it's in the works.
Not a fan of Amazon?
I'm not a fan of really anybody.
I was reading
but definitely
a
not
thing
them.
today
I feel
that Bezos' parents just bought a $34 million mansion.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
Sick.
Disgusting.
you have contributed to that
Yeah,
in
it's
some fashion.
disgusting.
So have
Yeah,
I
yep.
with the things that I buy.
Yep. Burn all my books then, please.
Waffle Sensei said, content is fake when they weaken the writing on established characters or archetypes to prop up the message they like. Good writing is when you can make all characters robust and intriguing conflict.
The weird part about that is, in the age of streaming, where things aren't just movies anymore, theoretically you should have more time to flesh those characters out and actually build more interesting characters in shows.
It's not
but they
about
don't
that,
do
though. It's because they're afraid of the public opinion.
In movies, it kind of I understand why they kind of dumb it down, because you only have 2.5 hours to tell a story, or 2 hours to tell a story. You need to get to the point as fast as possible. When you have 8 hours, I was like, Mary, will you watch the Terminal List? We'll review it. And it's like 8 episodes and every one's over an hour long. I'm like, if there can be character development in 8 hours of television, but they don't want to do it.
There can be character development in 20 minutes.
The problem is I also think that most of it is also that there's just too much to be worked on now, and not like the good writers are there's only so many really
I think they're also
talented,
lazy.
They're
Hollywood
relying
writers.
on big name actors
Yeah,
as well.
as if the face will do all the complexity that the writing should
I
have
think
done.
that's kind of what they did with The Gray Man with Ryan Gosling. I didn't think
Now
it
it's
was
going
that
to be
exceptional. Okay.
Now
Yeah, I
they
didn't
just
see
said
it.
it's not just getting a sequel; they're turning it into its own expanded universe because everything has to be a freaking universe
The
now.
multiverse.
With
I'm
him?
pogging right now.
With Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, his character is getting a spin-off, and then from there they're moving.
I am looking forward to the Barbie movie. Is that weird?
Me too.
I know.
Right,
I
that
saw
looks
some of
See,
the.
freaking
Brett,
awesome.
Brett is mad now because they have inaccurate rollerblades.
They do.
Oh my good. Of course. Of
I-
course.
No, it's very
Wait.
accurate to the time period.
Speaking of movie accuracy, this is a really important question.
Okay.
I got into a massive debate the other week about this on some Twitch panel or whatever. Can there be black elves in Lord of the Rings?
Like in Rings of Power, they're doing
Yeah,
that?
they're doing like, okay, here's my problem. They're putting like 4 black elves in there.
I
Where
think
did they
that
come
they-
from? I don't understand.
I
People are saying it's
disagree with them
racist, but I don't
updating the story
understand.
at all.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be messing with the story at all.
No, but people are
because-
saying it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with the story. They're just putting representation. So why would you care?
No, they shouldn't do that.
But the world.
Why?
The
So
world.
you don't support black people being in movies?
In Lord of the Rings movies.
Why not?
Because all of the ones before had white people. Like you're
Yeah,
just
okay, yeah,
doing,
that
you're
makes-
just,
I could
it's
see-
very contrived.
Yeah,
know-
that makes sense to me too. But for some reason, there's like a whole
It's
half of the
shoehorned
internet.
in. It's very awkward.
It seems like they're forcing it.
And also,
and the
Middle
world-
Earth is based on like England. You know, the
Right.
English countryside.
I could see
and,
them
like,
creating new characters if they want, but for like if they come from some other land that we didn't know about. But it just seems like they're forcing it into.
There has to be a
the world.
backstory, right?
Instead
Thank
of just
you.
dropping
Okay.
it in. Yeah.
Also, it doesn't matter because nobody trusts the executives anymore. So even if it was done organically, nobody's going to buy that that's what it was meant to be, that it was done organically.
Right.
Because nobody has any faith in the studios that produce these things anymore.
Yeah, I hate that like Tolkien's estate is in such poor hands, you know.
Yeah.
Funny thing, we're going to actually get
It's so
into that.
greedy.
That kind of pushes it into the next topic. So we're going to get right
Okay.
into it. It says Bullet Train author defends Brad Pitt casting from whitewash claims. A lot of people, and I think it's fair to have this discussion because a lot of times we talk about like, would they race, you know, I said that I had no problem with them race swapping James Bond because I believe that him being British
I have a problem
and,
with it.
and him being male are the most important aspects to that character. You don't race swap Black Panther because being an African American, that's being black, that's part of what that character is, right?
He could be
I don't
South
think,
African. It could be Elon.
It could be, but for this, they cast Brad Pitt in this movie, and it is a
Thank
race swap,
you.
and they did this with other characters in it. So it says Brad Pitt is under fire for allegedly whitewashing Japanese culture in his new his summer blockbuster Bullet Train, but the author of the original source material has stood by the casting. Now here's where I laugh at this because every time they do this to a white character making them black, the author stands by the casting because they're making a lot of money to stand by the casting. They understand that. So we have to take this, and even if you think that this is okay, you have to understand that he's doing the same thing that somebody else would be doing, just like Neil Gaiman did when they changed the character in the upcoming Sandman movie, right? Or Sandman series.
Had you heard of Bullet Train before
No.
you saw the trailer?
No, but
This
the
is-
art is fantastic.
This is the problem I have with it. Like these actors, these big names, and the film adaptations bring so much exposure to stories that otherwise would not have been known. And it's really ungrateful to then complain about it because of their racial, you know, you didn't meet this quota. When, like, they're amplifying a story
Yep.
with their name
and that author
their
who
image.
created it is going to get
And that author
make
is going to be
royalties and-
compensated for what they created
Right.
too. So it's just
In
ungrateful.
20 years,
and
he'll
whiny.
do what the Friends creator did and donate
Yeah.
lots of money to some.
Right.
That was the
They
fu-
donated
Yeah.
that person donated. I forget her name.
like $20
to
million.
her
$3
alma mater,
Right, but-
her university,
But
not
only to a
charity.
specific. Right, oh, right. I thought
To
it was like a
ac-
specific
to
like, part
academia.
of the school too.
African
Like
American studies.
thanks,
That's what it was,
thanks
yeah.
for your service
Yeah.
to society.
Oh, wow.
Because of the lack of racial diversity in Friends, which is of course
Like,
like
how?
it was-
What's the correlation?
So
don't understand.
They point out past examples where this has happened in recent years, but it's really funny because they think of all of 3 examples where like they've whitewashed characters in the last 25 years, whereas like going the other direction, as we know, they're literally Aldous Hodge is playing Hawkman in a
by
new
the way-
Marvel or in a new DC movie.
If they wanted Japanese characters to play these characters, then a Japanese filmmaker would make this and cast Japanese actors and actresses, and it would be in Japanese. It would be marketed
And
in that
none of the
way.
white people
But
screaming
then-
about it would watch it.
Yeah, then they wouldn't make as much money because
Yeah.
Hollywood is the dominant, filmmaking center of the
you'd
world.
you'd have this Japanese author right now, like, please shut up. White people, don't ruin this for me. Like, I'm about to get this massive hit, and you idiots are gonna.
Japanese people don't give up. Bleep. If Brad Pitt is in Bullet Train,
they're stoked.
They don't care.
Stoked.
If anything, it's positive. Yeah.
They mentioned Doctor Strange, which of course cast Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, but that China put the kibosh on that real quick because it's a Tibetan character, and they're like, not on our watch.
So dumb.
And then Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson, who, as we know, bends the knee now every time that they call her out as well. She was going to play the trans character in a movie, and then they complained enough on Twitter, got her to drop doing that.
And apologize.
There's like 9,000 rules, and no matter how many of them you follow, you will never follow all of them, and that's kind of the point, is that
There's so
it's a
much
puzzle
work
that's
to be
unsolvable.
done.
There's
always more work to be done.
Did Newsweek write an article about Black Orphan Annie when that came out?
No, they did. No, there's actually an episode of the show Boston Legal. The very first episode of that show is about a young black girl who tries out to play Annie in a stage production. And then the whole episode has Reverend Jesse Jackson shows up in the episode. And like the mom is like, she was the best singer out of all of them, and half the people are like, that it doesn't matter. The character is Caucasian in the original telling, but then the judge is like, well, I mean, Daddy Warbucks is like her adopted father, so does it really matter? And it was like a whole thing. And this was in like the early 2000s that they did this whole storyline in a TV show. But the character, so the author
planting the seeds.
Yes. So it says King responded to rumors that she auditioned. This was for it says Bullet Train is due out on August 5th, based on the novel by Kotaro Asaka. Characters played by Brad Pitt and Joey King were originally written as Japanese by Asaka, and I looked it up. I haven't read the book, but they are Japanese in the original telling. It says, in 2020, King responded to rumors she auditioned for Avatar: The Last Airbender and wrote on Twitter, "I do not believe a white woman should play a character of color, not me or any white woman for that matter." The tweet has since been deleted as production began on Bullet Train just like 2 months later.
But if you give me enough money,
yes, she
I'll
pulled
change
it
my
down
tune.
2 months later.
I can't stand these people.
Says, I absolutely think charges of whitewashing are accurate, said David Eno, executive director of Japanese American Citizens League, when discussing Bullet Train. He told the ASAM News that foreigners in Gaijin remain a distinct minority in Japan, and to populate the movie with so many in the leading roles is ignoring the setting. They also ignore that Brian Tyree Henry is in this because he's African American, and they don't want to point out that that's
right. Like that's not representation of Japanese culture either. But it's really just about having less white people in movies.
So it says. Eno suggested the movie should have taken place on the Akela Express from Washington, D.C. to New York City based on casting. They could have done that, but then it wouldn't be this adaptation. It also speaks to the laziness of Hollywood that somebody couldn't just look this up and write their own movie about being on a bullet train. They had to adapt this because they aren't good enough to write their own script. So maybe that's the problem. Like we were talking yesterday about they're making a movie called Samaritan starring Sylvester Stallone as he's like a retired superhero who's coming out of retirement. It's kind of based on the movie Unbreakable by M. Night Shyamalan.
Not based on, it's just an inspiration.
It's inspired by. But the point is, like, nobody has a problem with it anymore because you can make a character whatever you want. You can look however you want as long as they don't have 1,000 examples in literature or comics to pull from that they can compare to show what you did differently. Right? If you're making something new, people are automatically going to be more forgiving of your material and give you way more benefit of the doubt, but they just don't have it in them to do that anymore.
Because they want the cachet of Marvel in an already established property.
But even this isn't even that. It's like, I can understand that with Marvel.
No, this didn't have it. This is just pure, like, lack in creativity, for sure.
DC race swapping Aldous Hodge to play Hawkman is ridiculous, but at least I get it because it's a DC property. That character's name carries some amount of weight and value. Fine. You want to use it to make your marketing easier. I get it. I think it's stupid. But with something like this, it's just a book that no one's heard of. Maybe
Bullet Train had, like, a tiny cult fan base. I have no idea. But
I think it's usually lazy when they do this, but it does happen sometimes where, like, I mean, Pitt did World War Z. I kind of like that movie. Yeah. I also really like War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, and that was based on a story, and that movie is kind of terrifying. It's got one of the craziest sounds ever with the aliens. So sometimes it works out. Yeah. And I actually really like. Wow.
What is happening?
It's a crisis party.
We got to dance now. Sorry, get it now.
It means we reached our 100 benchmark.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, guys.
I'm like PTSD in Vietnam.
The cops are here.
She gets under the table.
So he says, while some have expressed anger made claims of whitewashing, the original novel's author Isaka is seemingly fine with the casting changes made for the movie. Says, I don't have any. I have not yet learned how to work through the crisis party. It says, I don't have any feelings of people wanting to understand Japanese literature or culture, Isaka told the New York Times. It's not like I understand that much about Japan either.
Wow.
So what?
Oh,
Cool.
yes.
It says he also expressed hope that the adaptation of Bullet Train could lead English-speaking audiences to his many novels, which are bestsellers in Japan.
And it absolutely will.
It will.
Just like what you were saying. It will bring people to the original, and that's, I think,
And
all
it's
that
only
matters
Western audiences that are whining about it.
Oh, they whine about everything.
And I do recommend...
But they'll still watch it and consume it, so we should just learn to not care.
I'm excited
Exactly.
for Bullet Train.
Yes.
Exactly.
The set design and the colors and like
looks
the
so-
color grading is
yeah.
very, very good.
It looks fun.
Yes. So anything like that, and the trailer looks very, very good as well. Like I think they showed too much in both of the trailers.
I think we're going to review it.
you got that off fairly easily. Dane would be Dane should be
challenge.
Because
embarrassed.
people
does
don't
take
realize
one.
they're supposed to pull it up, not turn it. Yeah.
Just take one, but I've taken like 10.
Which colors does it?
Blue, all blue.
We'll write that down.
Write that
Do you
down.
hate me?
Write that down.
Wait,
Whoa.
what's going on? What have I done
are
here?
you a part of?
Is there about to be another
No,
crisis party?
It's
Very
just,
interesting.
It's noted.
It's very interesting.
Noted.
It's very
Anyways.
interesting.
Wait,
Wow, you guys are like
What is
holding an
happening?
experiment up here. What is going on?
There's it's like an old inside
You're actually
joke.
microdosed.
Oh my god!
5 minutes.
Don't even
Lord.
joke about something
Crazy.
like that. But like, there's like a TV show that I used to watch where the guy he put a gumball, like he was an adjunct college professor, and he put like a thing of gumballs, and then every time somebody would take one, he'd ask them what color they took, and then he'd write it down and go, huh, interesting. And he wouldn't ever tell them what he was talking about. And it would
That's
just make
hilarious.
people feel really, really insecure about whatever they just did.
Yeah,
We're gonna
like
do the
that.
same
this is
thing
like
with
some
M&Ms.
solid social manipulation. I like it.
Yeah.
Good work.
When we do the same thing with M&Ms, if you pick a green one, then you're gonna be on a watch list.
Why can't it be hot?
Why can't they wear the sexy white go-go boots?
Sexy white go-go boots.
Why?
Like I said, it doesn't bother me when they do the race swaps if it doesn't affect if it's not a main part of the character's full story. Like I said, with James Bond, I don't think it's as important. I got into a lot of trouble in the chat. People did not like my.
You got
take
in
on
trouble
that.
after the show when I went off on you.
And I was like, whatever. It doesn't bother me as long as then they don't make it part of the
I
character.
think him being white is just as important to his character as him being British. It was always part of
I think
his character.
the British means more. I mean, that one doesn't really bother me as much.
Yeah.
Like, but sometimes it's just like if it's
He's
beyond
also
just being
supposed
aesthetic.
to be upper crusty, and upper crusty
Yes.
British, that's white.
He's
person.
he's like
Doesn't-
nobility.
doesn't
If it
always
were
have
like
to
a
be.
regular white person, like you picked your average American and that were just James Bond, you could switch them out with anyone, no
Yeah.
problem. British people are like a different creature. They're like they're
But
they're a different species.
he's up there with Henry Cavill, and now they're saying Henry Cavill likely won't come back as Superman, so he'll have to lose some of the muscle because
on.
James Bond isn't like.
That's
Henry
the only
Cavill's
Superman I
arms
liked.
I know, right? Henry Cavill's
Unbelievable.
arms, I think, are a little too big for.
I don't think
for
you can
James
do
Bond.
Sherlock and James Bond.
You know, yeah, but he's not really Sherlock. He's Sherlock adjacent to Enola Holmes.
I guess.
Like, that's not really like
Still.
nobody remembers him playing Sherlock.
Yeah, I was
Holmes.
thinking. I didn't until you
Yeah.
said Enola Holmes. I was like, Henry Cavill, Sherlock.
Yeah, he's like
talking
buff
Second
Sherlock.
one is on the way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
With what's her name?
I never finished the first one.
With
to be
Millie
honest.
Bobby
Millie
Brown.
Bobby Brown, yeah. She got,
I
like,
think
the
it was only a
largest-
hit at first because people were stuck at home and there were no other options but
Yeah.
to stream that one.
But
But
like
we'll
she,
see. We'll see what happens.
I've been
with the second.
rewatching some oldies lately on Netflix, really like scraping the bottom of that barrel.
Like what?
I
Before
rewatched
you
all
get
of
rid of your
Merlin.
subscription.
Merlin is
Oh my
actually
God.
sick,
Never watched
okay? It's actually such a good show. Don't at me.
Guinevere in that show. They race swap Guinevere. In
Did
that
they?
Yes. In that show, and it doesn't matter because it was like you knew that the executives at that time didn't give a crap. They just
Yes.
hired someone. That was the early 2000s, man. That is some of the worst set design in the history of television, and I don't care one
The
bit. It's
animation,
incredible.
Everything. But you know why I liked it? Every episode. It was like this like great moral battle of I need to sacrifice myself
Yep.
to save my best friend, and every time they do it, every time they do the right thing, every battle they don't like torture anyone. They just punch them out. And I was like, this is the wholesome content that I need in my life right now.
Is it kid-friendly?
Every other show, I feel like yeah, it is. You had like Quentin Tarantino hit this like peak of gore and violence and like shocking content. And then everyone kept trying to hit that peak too, to the point that it got boring. Kind of like when guys watch porn and then just can't have sex anymore because all of it is boring to them, except for this like crazy, unless it's like tentacle hentai.
Same thing's happening with cinema.
Yeah, same thing's happening with cinema. So when I went and I watched Merlin, I was like, this is actually like a really lovely new experience to see something that is entirely wholesome.
And his friend,
I'm loving it.
And his friend just treats him like crap, and he helps him anyways.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
He's
I love it.
He's the servant to I always forget
Arthur.
Yeah, to Arthur, and like he just doesn't treat him well, but he loves him.
I never watched Merlin, but it's making me want to go back and watch Xena.
I love that era of
You gotta use
Twist.
your nails.
Twist, she's got it.
What happened? It was so easy to open before.
Because she ate the blue
It's
ones.
because she ate the blue one.
Yeah.
No, that's why we had to write it down.
There's still some blue ones left.
Is this a social experiment?
Yes,
she
it is.
shrunk too. You're much smaller now.
What is happening?
Stop asking questions.
No, it doesn't make sense. It was so easy to open before.
This is awesome.
You got it. It's almost there. They're gonna go flying. It's gonna make for great.
Okay, no.
Aw. I highly
make for
recommend
great
going
YouTubes.
and watching Merlin. It's kind of like in the vein of like when I mentioned like Warehouse 13 or Eureka, and like there's an innocence to the sci-fi and story and genre storytelling of that age where I put that on at night because I don't want to think hard about really, really deep social issues. I just want to watch funny, interesting people have funny, interesting conversations with people that they get along with. Is it great for like deep, in-demand cinema? No. But it was great for its time.
Trying to
and
think the last
we
thing
would
I
be better
watched.
getting back to that.
Maybe The Witcher was the last thing I watched where I got that experience.
Witcher's a little darker, but it was good.
Was it darker?
Way darker.
Yeah.
Way darker,
I
yeah.
enjoyed that. Okay.
Shane is desensitized.
I can't.
Exactly. You got that Quentin Tarantino desensitization.
Right.
The CGI in Merlin is enough to make you laugh, not just the dialogue. It's so bad.
When the dragon showed up
Yeah.
for the first time, I was like, all right, power through.
It
We
literally
can make it.
looks like they
I like
made
that
it.
more than just the CGI throw up of Doctor Strange, for instance.
Without the budget back then, they had to integrate it more cleverly. And in this case, like the dragon only ever shows up in one place ever.
Yeah.
And it looks like it was made in Adobe After Effects. It does not look like it was done on any type of professional program, but it's beautiful.
That's
It's a
awesome.
great show. So I recommend
Like
everyone
when
go.
things don't take themselves too seriously.
Yes, it was just great for its time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super chats.
Waffle Sensei said, an example is when they make strong women characters by making weak men characters. And does he mean in comparison?
Yeah,
to
so
them?
they elevate
Yeah.
them by degrading the male characters in the product. It's like did you see Terminator Dark Fate where like she degrades motherhood and they kill off John Connor in like the first 5 minutes of the show. That's a very good example of that.
Okay, have you guys ever watched the Caitlin Riley How Women Are Written in Sci-Fi Movies video? Can you bring that up? You guys will die. This is so important.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, it's like a 5 second. It's 50 seconds.
Bad app. I
Caitlin
can't
Riley?
read that.
Yeah, can I send it to you? Is it possible?
I like
Just
this
look
person.
up How
I'm
Women
not
Are
seeing
Written
it.
in Sci-Fi Movies on YouTube. It'll come up.
Can you give us another
I don't want
watered
to
down
get
version?
banned on YouTube.
Come on, let's
It's the first one there.
walk on that high wire.
I don't
I
know.
told you
It's
a million
racial.
times, Michael.
Oh, jeez.
I can't get married right now. I'm a scientist, but I'm also a woman. I can't be both at the same time. None of it makes any sense.
I love
Listen,
this.
I'm either wearing a nondescript shirt or an army jacket. There is no in between. You bet your bottom dollar you're never going to see me in heels. Why? Because I need to find the equation. I've got it. My father was a scientist and he also worked here, and I know that that's the only reason I got the job, because that's the only way that this would make sense in the storyline of this film. It wouldn't make sense if I was just a scientist on my own and my parents were
She
like a
looks like
mechanic
Elizabeth
or something.
Olsen.
There has to be a lineage of some kind because I'm a woman. But please listen to me. We have to get in the planes now. I'm not good at communicating. I'm a woman, but I'm a scientist. I can't be good at my job and be nice.
Oh, man.
They can never be nice.
What does it mean? I told you a million
Anyways,
times.
that's
I can't
That's
be good
amazing.
at my job and be nice.
every
Dude,
time.
Jurassic World Dominion. The
They make women look like C-words.
Yes, on purpose, because you can't be strong and feminine or compassionate. You have to be a guy in a girl's body.
Yes. Find me the equation. I will never wear heels.
Also, they started this like 20 years ago. Like any female cop character has a guy's name. It's always Danny. Yeah, they never give them actual Max, Danny. It's always a guy's name that's dual gender.
It's that defeminization.
Yeah.
thing.
Like it's like I mentioned Dark Angel, which was like a 2000s James Cameron sci-fi show starring Jessica Alba, and her character's name's Max. And I'm like, of course it's Max. But at least then the character was written really, really well. Before every character on TV sounded like Joss Whedon wrote them. And that's
might be remembering this wrong, but I think Arrival had a really great woman character, Amy Adams, with the aliens come down.
Yeah,
like I love that character, and that movie was amazing.
She looks like Elizabeth Olsen, like a ton.
She does.
Yeah, she's funny. She does good stuff.
All right, super chat.
Yeah, I skipped Bad Apps. Hobbit riffed on that, saying the black elves come from the DMT elves dimension. Caper2X said, dark elves, those belong to the Unseelie court.
Whenever people are now talking about Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, I'm so like I actually get really happy that I don't care because I'm literally watching them being destroyed for the sake of these corporations that don't give a crap about them, and I see these people who love it just like crying into their hands.
At least they're not like the Star Wars fans who eat up all this Disney crap.
That's
though.
well, it's I mean it's
they
like
have a strong faction of like people who will always like Disney Star Wars.
They love. There's like I'll never give
take
Jeff
anything.
Bezos.
Who are those people?
NPCs.
What do they do on a day-to-day basis?
They go on Twitter.
What are their little lives?
They're bots.
Or they, and
like,
they
how do they make, have you seen that video where that guy is like, how do they make it more and more epic every time? And he starts like crying at the.
Like, they're the guy on Reddit that's like, I finally, after 6 months, convinced my wife to let me buy the $3,000 Lego set. She said I had to get a vasectomy.
Literally that.
My wife's boyfriend bought it for me.
Lindsay said, so glad I'm catching the show live today. Love Pop Culture Crisis, and I'm a big fan of Lauren's work too.
Thank you.
Graffer said, why are there no black elves in the Lord of the Rings trilogy?
So true. Peter Jackson was a racist.
Well, this is like another thing that would never be able to be made today because of the lack of interference from the studio. They allowed him to make the movies he wanted to make that felt authentic to the time.
Can't have that.
You cannot have that now because the IP is more important than all of it, and they need to control it at every turn.
I think we need to make a white Black Panther.
Yes.
Like
South African.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Black
like make it Rhodesia.
You're getting spicy. Crispy Leg Transport LLC said this show is fantastic. I listened to Shane's story about the gold, and where can I find Lauren's body of work?
If you look me up on the internet, Lauren Southern, and you go to like page 20 on Google, you might be able to find it because they've suppressed it so bad.
Use DuckDuckGo.
If you use DuckDuckGo or like Brave or something like that.
Yeah. Or at Lauren_Southern on Twitter, you can find my
or
stuff
just
there.
Look at the first page of results, but ignore it completely, right?
Don't believe anything you read about me,
exactly.
okay? I did not kill those refugees. All right. Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Waffle Sensei said, Are they underground elves? Are they drow dark elves? Are they desert elves? I don't care. If they make black elves in Lord of the Rings, but now they're going to have to make sense of it. Wasted screen time. I mean, I'm not familiar enough with the lore to know what would make sense with the rest of it.
Bad Apps. Well, he almost said one that you could say. I guess you can say it if you adjust the name.
I'll say the name.
Who is this person? This person's
Shane?
great.
He just loves sending chats that don't get read.
It's his favorite thing to do in the entire world.
That's valiant, sir.
Shane Assman can pillage my Confederate gold.
Oh, nice. And here I am.
Cool.
Yeah, perfect.
Compliment if
I
ever I've
appreciate
heard
that.
one.
Appreciate it.
Eric Odolsky said, wasn't Mary Jane from Spider-Man race swapped? I didn't mind that for that character.
Are they referring to MJ played by Zendaya?
Probably,
that's a different version.
I didn't watch that one. I just watched Euphoria for the first time, and Zendaya is actually a good actress.
See? Somebody
I think
agrees.
her scenes are like waiting for a laugh track on a Disney show still.
I actually surprisingly really liked Euphoria.
We're going to be talking about that next.
True, actually.
Have some variety.
You actually do that again. You're pretty good at it.
Like,
that's
she just looks like a troll, like a goblin.
That's the first scene.
But she's drugged out the whole time.
I get it, but like, I don't know. It's almost like offensive to drug addicts.
In her first appearance in Spider-Man, that's literally the face she makes to Peter Parker.
That's the only face she makes. It doesn't matter what character she plays.
Well, good work if you can get it. Good work if you can make that much money making the same face all the time. I respect the hustle.
I just think it's extremely vulgar. But we're going to get to Sydney Sweeney in a sec. Clint Torres sent us a thunderstorm emoji. Will Berry said, y'all tell Tim that if he really wants to stop giving money to companies that hate us, have the IT guy set up a Plex server for y'all. From there, you get to decide what is on your streaming service. Sky's the limit.
Sending it to him right now.
Yep, we're on it.
I'm on it.
Actually, I think you should send that to pitches@timcast.com.
Eventually, one day that will just be filled with everything that you could ever want on the pitches.
Slavky Nikki. It'll be like the Library of Alexandria. Like,
yes.
Slavky Nikki said, considering I got my ex-fiance into a research position at a university, that video was a hard oof. Thanks, Lauren. LOL.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. All right. So since we were talking about Euphoria, we are going to get into this article where Sydney Sweeney talks about how she just can't seem to make ends meet. And that is a problem.
She said, I barely earn enough to survive.
She does.
How much is she earning? Does it say in this article?
Enough to have
enough to
have a very big mansion.
Los Angeles.
Want to go ahead and lead this one?
Well, some people make stupid financial decisions.
So she did an interview with The Hollywood Reporter that begins in the setting of a rooftop bar at a Manhattan hotel that they make sure they stress is very modest. Mm-hmm. And then in the middle of it, she gets all of her designer clothing for their photo shoot shipped to the front desk. Mm-hmm. And she talks about how hard it is to make it in Hollywood. And I appreciate part of this interview that talks about humble beginnings. She comes from a very lower middle class upbringing. And
wow,
why was that one so long? Thank you. And she has been acting since she was 14 years old, I believe, and she's 24 now.
Her
side note, I think it's weird that all of the characters in Euphoria are like way older than the characters they play.
How old is Sydney Sweeney?
She's 24.
Okay.
So she also mentioned that she just bought her first home. It's a $3 million mansion in LA.
But she can't make ends meet.
And she's talking about how she can't make ends meet because if she wanted to take a 6-month sabbatical from acting, she wouldn't be able to afford it.
How many episodes were in season 1 of Euphoria?
I didn't watch Euphoria. I'm not sure.
So the idea here is like I laugh at the idea of like middle class people being like, yes, that would be terrible if I wasn't able to just take 6 months off.
She starts complaining about how people are driving by her house and taking pictures of it, and paparazzi are waiting outside because she doesn't live in a gated community.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna defend her here. I think everything she's saying is completely legitimate.
Okay.
So she made about $200,000 off of season 1 of Euphoria, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think they upped her to $350,000 for season 2. So this is a couple years of what? No. She was making $25,000 per episode for season 1. A lot of that is going to be cut out of there for taxes, right? So she's actually going to be making like not a massive wage.
Well,
we're talking like 100,000 something.
But then it's what you were saying earlier. She's living beyond her means.
Her publicist gets paid.
Yep.
Now she has a mortgage that gets paid.
Right. She's having to be around people that are going to already be. A lot of people in Hollywood are already people that are friends, families, whatnot, with celebrities. They're going to have a lot of financial backing. They're going to have, and she's going to try to be keeping up with this lifestyle of the people around her to try to stay within the clique, because if you're out of the clique, you're not getting jobs anymore. So she'd absolutely be living barely enough to survive.
Everything's relative
within that world.
Right, She also mentioned that the network doesn't pay for her to be doing press for the show.
That's
she has to pay for all her own hair, makeup, travel, etc.
Security. This is a huge thing I realized when I kind of blew up on the internet, especially like every video I'd post would get like massive views when I was relevant back in the day. Like 2016, 2017, I was like, oh my gosh, I make no money because I didn't really know how to make money on YouTube then. And I have no security. I can't afford security. I'm making like nothing. And I have people showing up at my house, leaving notes on my freaking door, stalking me, wanting to kill me. Like this is, there's this really weird disconnect where like being famous used to be connected with this whole industry behind you where, yeah, you would absolutely have like 7 security guards. They'd set everything up for where you went. Now you've got famous people that have none of the institution behind them, and they're just floundering and don't know what to do. And I think this is a good example.
Here's my issue. Like, she didn't have to buy a $3 million mansion.
No, she didn't.
She could have gotten something much smaller in a gated community.
But the people around her are all doing that, so she's like just mentally like skewed, right?
Is that part of her needing to keep up appearances to stay part of the in-group?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and also they point out, like, because this is streaming and the dynamics of pay in relation to streaming are different than they used to be on network TV. There will be no residuals. There will be no royalties for anything like this. You're getting a flat rate and then nothing
she's
else.
also a really big name right now because of Euphoria. And yes, she's taking advantage of that. She said she takes brand deals because she has to. She has one with Armani. She has one with Miu Miu.
I have to take this brand deal with Armani, she says.
No, like,
oh my
poor
gosh.
you, right?
I'm not crying for her. I don't feel bad. She's doing fine, obviously. But like,
there are valid
it's just
points
good
for
to
sure.
consider like how she could get to that position where, despite making a good amount of money, she's feeling that way.
Publicist, lawyer, manager, all of them taking a cut along the way. The government takes 40%
She said she pays her
taxes.
publicist more than her mortgage monthly.
So,
so she would genuinely be making very little money if... unless we'd have to consider the brand deals and stuff because she'd be making good money on those.
Yeah, and then the agents also secure the brand deals for her too.
Well, if she buys a home for $3 million and the mortgage is like whatever her down payment on that was, there must be some indication in her bank statements that she has enough that they believe could cover. That she'll be able to make those payments on a monthly basis, right? Like you can't even get an apartment anymore without making 3 times what your monthly rent is.
So what she means by I earn barely enough to survive is not I earn barely enough to survive. I earn barely enough to survive at a celebrity lifestyle.
To keep up.
In this insulated culture.
Yeah. You look at Hollywood where like the big name celebrities live in these large mansions and the people who they work with every day live in the slums of those cities because they're paid so little in relation to what it costs to live there. Like
I'll never forget going to I did some filming in LA for my movie Borderless, and we actually hired the room that they filmed Batman in and had the car come up with all the lights above. We used that studio, and we went to go buy outfits for the shoot, and we went to All Saints, bought like a $300 shirt or something, and the guy told us, hey, by the way, like keep the tags on this way for when you return it. And we're like, what are you talking about? Like returning it? And he's like, oh, I just assumed you were like literally every other person that's filming projects here. They're like, these people are all like portraying a certain, they go out to parties wearing clubs, tucking the tags in. They're all trying to portray that lifestyle in LA, and it's all fake.
Remember when I said that you don't know why you understand what fake is, but you always can spot it? Like that's what it is, right? Like, and maybe that's why we as like as the plebs of society take such disdain on that culture, because like you know that it's fake. They're telling you it's not. You both know that it is, and you can't prove it or show it, but you know that that's what the reality of the situation is. But then they push it on the world and try to portray Hollywood values as the values of the rest of this country, which they inherently are not. Right?
There was something she said in this interview I found more sympathetic. She, when asked about her relationship status, said, I want to have a family. I've always wanted to be a young mom, and I'm worried about how this industry puts stigmas on young women who have children and looks at them in a different light. I was worried that if I didn't work, there's no money and no support for kids I would have.
Well, look at the conversations we've been having about all the celebrities in Hollywood choosing surrogacy because they don't want to take 6 months or 9 months out of their life and not be able to work.
But think about how much it costs to have a surrogate.
Have you ever seen the movie The Island?
No.
With Scarlett Johansson?
No, that's Shutter Island.
Yeah, that's right.
You've never seen The Island?
No.
Oh, it's such a good movie. How have you guys, this is the culture podcast. Honestly, you're all fired.
That's the thing. That thing is, though, if you haven't seen every single thing ever, everyone says that like you don't
understand anything.
You don't get it.
Morons. No, it's basically they created this like separate society in the middle of I think it's like in the desert or the ocean or something. It's like, and they've cloned all of these celebrities and rich people, and their clones live in this little, they think this is the world, this little society they live in. They have little everyday parties, bars, everything, but they don't realize that they exist for the sole purpose of like organ harvesting and stuff. So like when a celebrity gets in a car crash, suddenly they pretend one of the people on the island has won the lottery and gets to go to an island, but really they're taking them and taking their organs. And they do that for pregnancy. So all of these women will get pregnant and then the babies just disappear, but it's because the celebrities need one back in LA.
It's not too far off from reality.
Yeah.
We've talked about celebrity
Uyghur
surrogacy
concentration
before
camp.
on the show.
It's a Michael Bay film, by the way.
Oh, I love it already. I love
He's a big Michael Bay.
I love bad movies that you.
This looks
that he
really
knows.
good.
It's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It looks really good.
There was another part of this that pissed me off, to be honest.
Was it the
they were talking
grandparents quote?
Well, that's
Why do
another
you end
level
on
of
that
effed
quote?
up.
That's a whole nother
That
thing.
Brett had to include that because he's ghoulish.
I am
But
ghoulish.
they talked about her role on White Lotus, where the whole cast was living at this resort to film. And there were no guests at the resort other than them because of COVID. It was a COVID protocol that they were all isolated. And it was literally that movie, The Bubble, that we watched in real time. Yep. It really happened with this. And the director of White Lotus recalled what it was like when that protocol stopped and they started welcoming guests back into the resort. He said he described the introduction of the real world into the cast and crew's COVID bubble as almost traumatic, but ultimately powerful in the way it served the narrative. Suddenly, we're watching employees, our family, get bossed around. It added to the meta feeling of the show reflecting life.
I cannot stand.
It was trauma.
I cannot stand self-absorbed people with like basic literary skills being able to like vocalize something very stupid and make it sound halfway like intelligent.
Like
Welcome
if you
to the
can
internet,
you
dude.
can do a complete sentence,
I was like,
you're
we have enabled so much
able
mental
to fool
illness
anybody. Yeah.
by just giving people the ability to write. And
This is what I'm saying. Mass literacy is a problem. I've been saying this since day one.
Like there's like a lot of the things
Actually
you read.
true.
No,
right?
so true.
I never even thought about that.
Can we go back and just
True.
burn the printing press?
A lot of the
people
things
that
that we
shouldn't be
read-
able to write.
A lot of the things that we read from people who clearly have problems are just being the only reason they're taken serious because they're able to formulate a halfway decent turn of phrase to point it out, and you're just like, that doesn't make it any less stupid, but because you're able to say it in a halfway cogent manner, it's a problem.
Yeah, no one has any skills to read and write anymore. And that's just a sign of the schools and how they fail kids. And also this Sydney Sweeney story is about financial illiteracy. Like, this is just another case. Like, I never learned anything about keeping a checkbook or
Do you think that's
making
it?
money.
Because
I
the
think to some
interview
degree,
is
yeah, 'cause
written
she's
in
living
such a
beyond her
way that
means.
they frame her as a very business savvy woman,
No,
and
they
I'm
have
not
to do
so
that.
sure.
I think
she
they have
is.
to do
She's
that.
doing her publicist is doing that
Yeah,
for her, but
like-
she doesn't know what she's doing because she's a first generation celebrity.
But I think Lauren's
You know,
right in
like-
saying that she's doing what she has to do to keep up with the culture that she's surrounded
And that's a problem
by,
too.
and that's a problem.
That's another problem.
Like I love blue collar actors who do television because they tend to be more for the industry, more down to earth. A lot of them, like I'm a serial IMDb'er. Like whenever I'm watching a show, I look at everyone's IMDb. Like a lot of them have been married
You're
for 20.
that guy.
I'm that guy. They've been married for 20 years. They've got kids. They're fairly
It's a very
normal.
incestuous industry,
Yeah,
though.
once you start going down the rabbit hole of like I pointed out to somebody the other day, they're like, Bryce Dallas Howard, such a great director. I'm like, it's Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah.
She doesn't get that opportunity without being Ron Howard's daughter. That just doesn't happen. Sorry. Like, but that's, in an industry where there isn't like strong benchmark for what's good other than money, right? Like you get a lot of leeway but just because of the generality of the art, right? Like who's to tell them that performance is bad, right?
Yeah,
They don't
all
care about
art
the
is subjective.
They
and
don't
none
care
of it is
about the
good or
money
bad.
anymore. They don't care about the money anymore. That's what it seems like in Hollywood. Like most of the blockbusters that they're making today seem to be very poorly done in the way that they're not making hundreds of millions. Like this is the first quarter in a long time. This summer blockbuster season is the first one we've had since pre-19 before COVID, where things are bouncing back, but they're not as good as they used to be because people see through it because the art isn't as good. So if if it's all subjective and the money doesn't matter, you just hire whoever the hell you want. It doesn't matter.
Top Gun was pretty damn good.
Yes, I have sung the praises of Top Gun endlessly.
Yeah,
and
really
it's,
good.
Dane finally saw it, said he loved it.
You're basically a Scientologist at this
I bet,
point.
yeah. Well, that's they call me a Scientologist apologist, a Scientology apologist because I like Tom Cruise in movies.
Yeah, well, you are. So, another aspect of this interview I wanted to touch upon is her evaluating her status as like a rising sex symbol, which I totally disagree with. Because appearing naked on screen does not make you a sex symbol. If anything, that takes away all of the mystery that is essential to being a sex symbol. So she said, people forget that I'm playing a character. They think, oh, she gets naked on screen. She's a sex symbol, referring to her nude scenes in Euphoria. She said, I can't get past that. I have no problems with those scenes and I won't stop doing them, but I wish there was an easier way to have an open conversation about what we're assuming about actors in the industry.
That's impossible because of the way discourse happens.
She wants nuance in an industry that doesn't allow for it. And I honestly, this is just porn. Like, Euphoria is a very pornified series from what I have heard about it. I don't seek out that type of content, but it's blurring the lines between mainstream entertainment and pornography in a way that's like very dangerous, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just look at what
it doesn't make
Grandparent
her a
said.
sex symbol.
Yeah.
It makes her a sellout.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't watched it, but it seems weird to watch high school kids doing
Whoever
what I've heard
adults
about.
That's what
portraying high
when I was
school
watching the
kids.
show, I was like, I feel, do I need to like
weird.
Yeah,
walk
they're
out of
all-
the room? Because
they're
this
all in
feels
their
like
mid-20s.
legal child porn or something. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's weird.
In the porn industry, they're not allowed to fake portray
Yeah,
children.
that's
But
what I keep
somehow
thinking.
Hollywood is allowed to do that.
What the
Because,
hell? Like, we need legislation on this.
Like,
I don't know what's
It
going
was
on.
weird.
like, all the porn stars, like, why do they get to do it and we
and
don't?
there's like proper like pedophile relationships in the show too that they
Really?
fully depict. Yeah, like they've got
Yeah.
the one of the trans star. It's like episode 2 that goes to go hook up with like an older dude and is like a trans
Disgusting.
child.
Good God.
And
literally
they
disgusting.
show the whole thing, and I'm like, I'm like one of those people that's like, fast forward.
Yeah. For me, I'm done fast forwarding. It's just like utter trash. Because what's the value to the story in showing all of that?
I think
You can tell more by not showing it.
to me, watching the show has been a really interesting, eye-opening experience to like obviously it's like an extremely exaggerated version of like Gen Z perspectives on the world, but it's been really interesting to view like that hopelessness, that, you know, acquiescing to drugs, sex, and confusion, and watch that portrayed in a show that's quite aesthetically pleasing. The music, all of that is really well done, and it really kind of opens your mind to just the hopelessness of Gen Z in a lot of ways. It's interesting.
I can appreciate that point, but also it's not accurate to Gen Z's actual lifestyle habits.
It's
we
like extremely
are
exaggerated.
like the
for
least
sure.
partying, least hooking up generation
Yeah.
in a while
Interesting.
now.
Isn't that so
So
interesting?
I think this is
All
more
the-
propaganda to encourage that behavior than it is trying to portray the reality.
all the Gen Z guys are like, where the hell is this stuff happening? It's not happening to me.
Where are all the hot girls that dress like prostitutes in my high school?
Yeah,
Okay, no, that I was like on a train the other day, and they had a Bible study youth camp coming on the train, and they were like a bunch of 16-year-olds. I remember a bunch of kids when I was younger would go do this like Bible study youth camp too, and they're like 15, 16. All the girls come on, and they're all wearing these like shorts that they've got rolled up at the top that are, you can see their asses. I'm sitting there like, is this even legal? There's like 40 15-year-olds all with their asses out from a Bible camp. So I do believe that they are dressing like that at that age.
Wow. Yeah.
I felt like such like a boomer. I was sitting
That's
there
crazy.
like getting ready, like weighing my
what I mean
walking
by
stick.
dressing
Pull your
like
pants up.
Parents send you to Bible camp, but don't check what you look like before you leave for the Bible camp?
Well, I think, so I went to a private school when I was much younger, and then it became absolutely unaffordable. But the girls used to go they'd go to school with their like skirts down past their knees or whatever. Then they'd all go in the washroom and roll the skirts up and like tuck their shirts over it, and they'd have them like with their asses hanging out. So you can like completely
Dude.
do
Can
that
adjust.
after. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can adjust. And I think that's what they're doing. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Crazy.
I know that like the lack of modesty, that would be accurate, but I'm talking about the exaggerated costumey way that these girls dress in
Yeah.
Euphoria.
The
Where does
is
it-
not
the
accurate
drugs,
at all.
the-
Where-
yeah,
It's
for sure.
very pornified.
Where does it take place?
I'm not sure.
the,
I wonder if that
Maybe
has
just
any
like
bearing
Southern
on how
California.
crazy. Yeah, that makes sense.
Lauren's right about the aesthetic of the show. Like I said, I was trying to explain like what I meant by like hyper. It's like it's very unrealistic, and it's like a hyper objectified in every notion. Like the visuals are very over the top. The way people are dressed is very over the top. The subject matter
The
is over the top.
emotions are over
the
the
emotions
top.
are over the top because
Yeah.
that is a choice by the director to direct the actors to.
I don't
behave
like
that
this director,
way.
though,
So
just
it's
on
just
principle.
it becomes a matter of like we're talking morality and like whether this is like good for society, but they're doing it objectively as an artistic choice.
I just think it's a bad one.
Yes.
and one that actively coarsens the culture.
That leads Sydney Sweeney's grandparents to say really creepy stuff.
Can we talk about this shit?
I need to.
Why did they say
when
this?
I heard this, I was like, "This is fake, right? Like it's fake." Okay, so Sydney Sweeney's grandparents complimented her nude scenes in Euphoria because cultural.
They said
rot.
she has the best tits in Hollywood.
No. Why?
Why?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Why?
Now I haven't watched
Grandma.
Euphoria, but from what I hear, there are scenes where she is like in like a sex scene with multiple men.
Yeah, and
Is that
she's
the
like
case?
getting choked and stuff.
Literally,
it's not good.
her grandparents who
It's not good.
Not good.
her grandparents
Graham.
watched this shit and then commented on it in a positive light.
they're
I
so
don't
proud.
understand.
So proud.
Pops, what's up here? Graham.
Like that's what makes it hard for me to
Like, do you think-
fully believe that she came from these humble beginnings and this normal upbringing. That is not normal. And I also read in this interview that her parents dropped everything and got rid of everything to put her into acting when she was like
Ooh, that's
13,
weird.
14.
Sounds like a
weird.
cult.
Any
Threw
good
everything
parents
away for her.
I think the grandparents like called her after those episodes and was like, "Wow, your scenes in the episode tonight were great," and she's like, "I didn't need to hear that,
It's
Grams."
exploitative.
Great tits, Sydney.
This is why I think it's like something you
Good
get
job.
groomed into doing.
Totally. That's
Yeah, it's
really
gross.
if the parents dropped everything to get them into
Yeah.
Hollywood, that's really creepy.
Yeah.
I remember like I think every kid has that moment where they're like, "Oh, they've got like a tryout going on for this like Disney thing. Can I go do it?"
Thank you.
I remember they did that one, and I asked my parents when I was really little, and they were like, "Absolutely freaking not,
Dude.
absolutely not."
I did that too. I asked and I got a yes, and I did the audition and I made it through, but my parents were like, "Nope, never mind," because
Yeah, saved
like
you from
that's
getting
how
groomed.
That's how they
even
entrap you.
Now even normies know about how how awful Hollywood
Hollywood
is.
is,
Like
yeah.
like the average person. Like sometimes you get the people who like when they get into like demonic and they start talking in like that language. I'm like, I get it. You're right.
It doesn't
but-
even have to be a conspiracy.
Yeah,
like
I'm like,
cartoonishly
I don't need to hear
evil,
about
but
adrenochrome.
real.
I don't need to hear about like the weird eyes wide shut parties. Just they're evil.
What we
They're
know
bad.
is enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
don't need-
totally would have made it in Hollywood too. You got like those crazy unique eyes. You would have been sorted.
Yeah, well, I'm here now.
And then you could have been
Now I'm a
treated to your-
podcaster.
to your grandparents saying, "Hey, nice scene in that show Euphoria." That's no thank you.
Yeah, nope.
Super chats.
True13 said, "Drow, black elves are in Dungeons and Dragons. R.A. Salvatore wrote a whole series called Dritz. LOL.
Thank you.
Lord of the Rings, to my knowledge, did not have black elves."
There, like I've seen a lot of the problem is like a lot of like when I started looking into like all of these shows for like the stuff we would talk about, a lot of the shield channels will talk about it and can explain away a lot of this stuff, but you know that a lot of them are run by major studios or they have access and they need to keep that access, so they are incentivized to stay positive even if they may not actually feel positive towards it. It's like it's why it's like one of the hardest things about doing this job is like everybody else that gets access to these companies can review things early, so you can get those reviews out ahead of time. Here, because you're not part of that access media class, you have to review it as it comes out, but it does mean that you're going to give an inherently more honest review, because whether you believe it affects you or not, it's still likely, I didn't like it that much, but I did get to see it early. So the things that are bad seem less bad because you got a unique experience out of it. It's not even their fault. A lot of times they might not even realize that it's happening to them, but Disney is very good about that.
Still there.
On top of the fact that Disney, the same 5 companies own all of these access media companies, so you're not getting honest takes from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yellow Fluffy Feathers said, "Best part of today's show, watching Brett and Shane cringe at Lauren's sense of humor."
There has been some
When did I
spice.
cringe?
A little bit of spice. Not cringe.
bit of-
You guys
Not
cringing?
brace.
I come from a different world, okay?
Big Worm said she has a 30-something boyfriend, get hitched, have a kid, stability through marriage is the way this has been done. Read her interview, and she doesn't even consider it to have kids. Well, she wasn't wearing a ring in the interview. I think she had an engagement that was broken off.
Yeah.
So, and either way, like, I don't think the answer to someone's problems are like, get hitched.
That's probably a bad
Get in the
approach.
kitchen, Sydney. Get in the kitchen, take your shoes off.
Maybe like have a real relationship and then get married and then have a kid. That sounds like a good idea, right?
Not a surrogate. Stop
and
doing
not
the surrogate thing.
not to
It's
like
weird.
save you from being an actress and hating your life.
Yep.
That would be selfish. Waffle Sensei said, the industry is gross. There's a scene in The Witcher where Ciri, is it that? Ciri climbs out of a bathtub and they have to leave. They leave the camera suggestively on her for a long time. The actress is 21, portraying a 14-year-old.
I mean, that was all over Game of Thrones too. So
that's weird.
Yeah.
Yellow Fluffy Feathers said, any of you watch the TV series Jericho that aired from 2006 to 2008?
Yep.
If not, you should also look up the protests the fans did to bring it back for another season. Epic for the time period.
Skeet Ulrich, the original killer from the first Scream movie.
That's a lot of organic interest.
Yes, that was a golden age. Like when you wanted to protest or get your show put back on, you didn't go hit them up on Twitter. You mailed shit to the studio. And started letter writing campaigns.
Thank you.
Nam.
Count them. 2.
Brace.
Bad App said Gen Z are smashing on Roblox. Gen Alpha is smashing on Roblox. I'm scared. Like,
dude, Mary, so you're Gen Z?
Yeah.
What? How old are you? 20. Oh, damn. No way.
Yeah. Bad Adam 12 said, for Mary being cool AF. Well,
yes,
thank
indeed.
you.
You're too smart to be 21.
Thanks, I think.
Is that a positive comment to you or a negative comment to your?
That was a negative comment to my 21-year-old self.
Yikes.
All right, we're going to do Podluck, and we got a bunch of stuff in here, so we're going to get right into it. So the first one here might be the most interesting. I think, Shane, I really wanted to get your opinion on this one. And basically it said there's a new law being enacted called the RAP Act, which I would love to know the staffer that had to come up with this to fit this.
It's real clever, huh?
It's very clever. They proposed the RAP Act to ban lyrics from being used as evidence, which they had already done in New York City, and we're not going to be. It's not about being overly political, but I think it's interesting because Kim Kardashian just recently came out and put Free Gunna on Twitter. And as somebody who loves Gunna's music, I say Free Gunna all the way. But YSL Gang is being prosecuted on RICO charges based heavily on the lyrics they use in their music.
I always thought this was so funny, like watching 6ix9ine in court or whatever, and he's like, I'm a stone cold killer too. kill everyone. And then he gets in court and he's like, so I was baking cookies for Grandma, and I was walking across the road with my Nobel Peace Prizes trying to go volunteer at the old folks' home. It's like,
so it says, it says the bill introduced following the arrest charging of Young Thug and Gunna of YSL earlier this year. Prosecutors leaned heavily on the musician's lyrics, and if the bill is passed, it would restrict the ability of prosecutors in criminal cases as well as lawyers in civil cases to use song lyrics as evidence against musicians. That tactic is disproportionately employed against rappers, and the lawmakers noted that the racial justice element of their legislation when they announced the bill. I mean, don't confessions get suppressed all the time because they're not given under the right circumstances, because not enough people were there to witness it and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. So it feels like they already did a bill like this in New York City that got strong backing. And like I said, this isn't a political show, but it's interesting because of the music aspect of it being like, I grew up on Tupac and Bone Thugs and Harmony and Biggie and Twista. I listened to nothing but rappers talk about how they were going to kill other people and do violent acts, or how they had done that.
But like, if you specifically name someone, I feel like that's different than just generally having violent lyrics.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got to be case by case with this. Like
if
you literally say, "I'm going to kill Shane Cashman," yeah, then maybe.
Still just artistic
honestly, though,
expression?
I still think you could get away with it. Look at all the things Eminem said about his ex-girlfriend. I mean,
the album cover was
look
literally
at
him
Kathy
dumping
Griffin
her.
holding Donald Trump's beheaded.
Right,
skull.
you don't have to agree with it, but I think you should be able to say it.
Yep.
I don't know.
That remember that album cover was literally him dumping her body in the river or in the lake.
But then if he killed her, you could go and use the lyrics, be like, okay, well, you did tell us how you're going to do it.
Imagine she dies under mysterious circumstances, and he's just like, fuck.
Yeah, that would be
It's just totally not him.
That could be the Stan video.
It's
the Stan video.
Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Like, that's a problem.
No,
like,
but rappers are storytellers. It makes no sense to use their lyrics in a courtroom anyway, unless it's that specific. Like Rick Ross talks about being a gangster and all this stuff, but he was a corrections officer at the time of his earliest records.
Isn't like a lot of people think Snoop Dogg still they're like, he's just allowed to be a gangster? Like
maybe
because
he's,
Snoop Dogg.
he's been
some
grandfathered
get
in.
to get away
He
with
completed
it, yeah.
the joke. I was like, Snoop Dogg completed the main the main plot like years ago, and he's just doing side quests now.
Yeah.
Everything he's with Martha Stewart. He's on like everything
when you're
he does
Snoop Dogg,
is like
they let you do it.
yeah.
There are some
exactly.
people that just have that luck. They
When you
can
have
do
a
whole lot
personal
and
blunt
never-
roller,
Yes.
they
Yeah.
let you do it.
who he gave a raise
For inflation.
Inflation
Yeah.
was killing his blunt
was
roller,
awesome.
so he gave the blunt roller a raise. He is now a 6-figure blunt roller.
But they shouldn't be able to use the lyrics and videos for the YSL people in Georgia, because it's just if you can make a video, you can do anything you want. I think like just because they're gonna show people who might have a certain color bandana or something,
Yeah.
and they're gonna affiliate that with a gang, doesn't mean it's real. They
The
might have just
problem
done
is when it is when it skirts that line so often, because I'm pretty sure 6ix9ine was like associated with the Bloods and stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you have these lines that get crossed, but yeah, it does have to be on a case by case basis. Especially I get most people I think know this, but like the celebrity world and the gang world are absolutely like hand in hand all the time.
Yeah.
So
And the
it's like a
government.
very real thing,
Yeah.
and a lot of these lyrics do have a lot of real connotations to them. But it's always funny when you see like there are certain rappers. This conversation we've been having about what is and isn't genuine.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain rappers that will just like rap about the stuff, and you can tell they're rapping about the stuff. And then there are rappers where you're like, you did
Right.
that shit.
Tupac did
you
that.
did that shit.
Gunplay's a great one. He did it.
Well, like a lot of them, like it's like Dave Chappelle talking about how he like hears the lyrics, but it doesn't resonate with him. He's like, I grew up in like I was too poor to be rich, but we were too middle class to be poor. Like he's like he gets it. Like all these other people are talking. He's like, I didn't live in the projects. Like he lived in a middle class neighborhood. So when you build a culture around violence and this type of stuff, I do think that they're allowed to. Like I had a friend of mine. So when we used to make skate videos, right, and you use songs for your section, like he had a problem putting like certain rap songs for like dudes who skated, because like if I'm white and you put a song
with the N-word.
yeah.
Yeah.
He would edit out the N-word. And I'm like,
Crazy.
I was like, there was a point where we mixed our cultures, right? That's literally multiculturalism. They sold this to us as I'm from the suburbs. You listen to rap music, ironically, for like 20 years. They sold this to you as a product. It is the closest you're going to get to a solid blending of cultures is like, I'm not associated with the song, but the song meant something to you. Like we were talking, it was a song by Nate Dogg. And I'm just like, I listened to Nate Dogg when I was like 14 years old. If that's it's from that album. Like
Yeah.
it's if that's not a great way for cultures to blend together in a way that's inoffensive and allows you to understand what someone's where they're coming from, that's actual storytelling that they tell to you that you think is incredible enough to pay money for. We made more progress back then than we will ever make now.
Absolutely. Do you guys know the streamer Trainwrecks TV?
Yeah.
Did you ever see his accidentally saying the N-word video?
No.
Or you can play it. It's fine. 'cause
On
it doesn't
Twitch?
actually. Yeah,
Like
look up
live?
Trainworks says the N-word LMAO
On
on YouTube. On YouTube. No, he's rapping to 6ix9ine.
How do you
Wait,
spell
is
it?
it gonna get us banned?
No,
I like
it's
all
not.
the
It's not.
6ix9ine
It's like
references
Trainwreck.
today.
Oh, he's like rapping.
Says the N-word LMAO is the video, I think. But he's rapping to 6ix9ine, and he's like doesn't realize that he's
But
like just saying the
6ix9ine
lyrics.
Isn't black.
His expression is like he's like, I'm literally, my life is over. It's just the funniest.
Wait, so
thing.
does he
great.
say it here? Am I gonna get banned?
It's the first one.
Am I
Yeah.
gonna get
No,
banned
you're
for-
not. You're not gonna get
You're
banned. My life is over.
Yes. Great song, by the way.
You have to like he
It's
literally
like he just saw the biggest spider
Every-
he's ever seen. in his
every
life.
time we do this show, you're putting your entire future at risk because you might say something that ends up being like, because like something comes out wrong, even being misinterpreted. I remember Tim once said like he will not say like Arnold Schwarzenegger because of like
He's so worried.
Yeah, like they're gonna
You'll
clip
get
it.
clipped, yeah.
They're gonna clip it.
But like, this is what's happened. People have put the fear of God
Yeah.
in people over this stuff. And it's like they're not trying to do anything offensive. They're like, literally, I just enjoy. People aren't going to listen to rappers anymore because
Yeah.
they're going to be like, too dangerous.
Oh, when I taught,
Nope.
when I was,
J. Cole or whoever like calls the girl up on stage to perform the song with him. She
Jake
says
Cole
the
did
song-
that.
was it
Kendrick
J-
Lamar
or
did
was it
that.
Kendrick Lamar? She
For
says
sure.
the song and then he stops and you can just see the girls just like
Kicks her off stage. This happened to multiple people.
Really?
And you know that something violent is going to happen to them after you kick them off stage. Like
Yes.
every
Good
time.
God.
It's so sinister.
Yes, like that's evil. Like,
Yeah.
he purposely like he's got a bunch of songs that he doesn't say it in, but he's like, nope, not that one tonight. Like, we're doing this one. Like,
Yeah.
He's just sitting
like, the
there,
craziest part-
sociopath.
6ix9ine is not black. He says the N-words in his songs, and no one cares.
But he's 6'9", so
But
he can
because
just
he's
do what he
6'9".
wants.
He's ascended race, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's like uncancelable level.
Well, the thing that's funny too is he's like Hispanic, eh?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
like
he
all
is.
the members of the Aryan Brotherhood now are Hispanic, because they're the only ones that are allowed to be Nazis.
Yeah.
So they say freedom of speech is the constitutional foundation the framers thought necessary to enable a new and free society to craft not only its own destiny through commerce and innovations, but through culture, expression, and art.
Right. For
I
Young
agree.
Thug.
For
The
Young
founders
Thug.
are for Young Thug.
Yes.
As am I.
I am in full agreement.
Yeah.
Oh wait, your chatter saying that Tim's gonna be mad at me for making you guys play that video.
Oh, why?
You didn't say
Is it offensive? He didn't say it.
You
No.
didn't say it. I don't know.
I think maybe copyright.
This was a
for the
great last
song.
episode. It
Oh,
was great you were here. No.
Yeah, there
See you guys.
may be a copyright claim on the
Maybe
audio.
that's why.
That will be. We'll have to.
Oops.
Okay, good thing I have all this money.
We'll have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll end up
Unlike
having to-
Sydney Sweeney.
We'll have to clip it.
Look at us.
We'll be
in the-
fine.
Sorry,
in
guys.
the post. So
I'll
thanks.
stop
Worth
forcing
it
you to
though.
play
Worth
videos.
it to see
Lauren.
that reaction.
All right, so I want you to talk about PewDiePie.
Yeah, PewDiePie makes a lot of videos reacting to TikToks. I enjoy them. But he recently reacted to a TikTok where a deaf woman, was signing while telling a story, and she had extremely long acrylic nails.
Yeah.
I have them myself. I find them helpful for expressing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he started making fun of her nails by taking his dog Maya and waving around his little paws with the claws on, and, you know, mocking the storytelling. And then everyone overreacted and said that he was making fun of sign language, and he just hates deaf people because, of course, like, it's PewDiePie and he has to be guilty of all charges.
Ever notice how there's never a middle ground? It's always because, like, whatever they think of you, it's because you're the worst possible version of
PewDiePie is,
whatever.
like, character assassinated so badly.
What is
I think-
PewDiePie? I don't even know what this person is.
Oh my god!
You don't know who
that
PewDiePie
feels,
is?
That
I have
feels
no
fake.
idea.
That's like the person the other
Dude,
day was like, I've
that
never
pisses
heard of.
you
No.
off, doesn't it?
When somebody says like, we were doing this article on like Kiki Palmer and Zendaya, they're like, I've never heard of either of these two. I'm like, I don't believe you.
Okay, no,
I know-
I've heard the name Kiki Palmer. I have no idea who they are though.
But
What is
you-
a Kiki
Yeah,
Palmer?
But you
I
know
don't know
Zendaya.
that either.
But you know Zendaya.
Yeah.
Well, we know Zendaya, but like I've heard PewDiePie, but I don't know what that is.
What
He
is a PewDiePie?
He is a YouTuber.
Okay.
He got famous for video games, like
Okay.
playthroughs
Okay.
of like.
I read the article. I did read the article, but I was like, why do they keep referencing? Why do they keep?
He
referencing
doesn't
the
do
dog?
all video games now, but
Okay.
he does like a reaction video like this one.
His
So
original
he-
simp video is one of the greatest things ever.
He's got a lot of good content, and a lot of people hate him because he hasn't always been the most politically correct guy.
Right.
Plus, he's not from here, so he doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, his sensibilities are different than the very, very like raw.
He's Swedish.
and-
He's
yeah.
got an Italian wife, and they live in Japan.
Okay.
So I don't think he cares about a lot of the Americans who are in his comments getting butthurt. But yeah, so he edited out that part of his video and then left a comment on his video and pinned it saying like, I was only making fun of her dramatically long nails.
Yeah.
I wasn't making fun of sign language. I didn't even realize that is what she was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was deaf. And then I think it was really wrong that the TikTok creator came along and made a video reacting to the situation, still blaming him, not accepting an apology, not accepting like the benefit of the doubt interpretation at all, and said that he should know better. It's 2022.
Why is he racist?
He
Deaf
should
people
know
exist.
better.
Why is he racist? They say he's racist in here. Why is he racist?
He said the N-word one time.
Do you guys believe in Helen Keller?
I just had this
Dude.
conversation with someone who's a
This is
a
a huge-
truther.
Yeah.
Helen Keller
Are you guys
truther.
Helen Keller truthers?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know
Let's
what
get
to
into
believe
that.
anymore about anything.
They say she flew a plane over the Atlantic.
What?
They,
Bro,
there was like a whole
That
thing
didn't
where-
happen.
There's a,
So you're a Helen Keller truther.
I guess. I mean, I can still believe she was blind and deaf and that she didn't fly a plane. Like,
Did she write all those books?
I can't wait to edit this episode later.
No.
I don't know.
No, you're
Cannot
leaving
wait
this
to-
in.
I
The
can't-
people need to know this.
Well, no,
this
this
is
one-
important.
People need to know this information.
They need to
this
know
is pop
this.
culture, but we're time traveling.
This is not pop culture.
Yes,
This
Helen
is
Keller is
like
pop
the
culture.
opposite of pop culture.
I call these social hand grenades.
She's like, if you're gonna shoot money at me and I have to duck every time people donate a certain amount of money, you're gonna get a bunch of social hand grenades.
Yeah, I love this super chat. Someone super chatted. They were like, every time I suggest to put a video up, you're nervously sweating a bit more every time.
Well, that's the only time we ever get copyright struck is like through videos. So.
Yeah, it's not because we're afraid of like saying offensive stuff, you know.
Keep doing it.
We're fairly family friendly here most of the time.
I just wanted to point this out because I think PewDiePie is like unfairly maligned a lot, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's a white guy and he has organic success and a huge fan base, and he doesn't have to rely on, you know, brand deals and AdSense anymore. He has built up wealth of his own and made his own products. He's very independent and he doesn't care about cancel culture.
There's also a weird subsect of people who go after Mr. Beast the same way sometimes, just because he's very
not
he's
as
like,
much,
not
but
as
I
much,
see
but
that,
it does
yeah.
happen because he's kind of like socially he doesn't catch the cues the same way other people do. He's very like he had like a photo of Elon Musk. I remember when he did this interview, and he has like a photo of Elon Musk like framed in his house or something like that, and the interviewer was like, of course Elon Musk said something that day that offended whoever was there interviewing him. He's like, yeah, I don't know, I just like Elon Musk, like
yeah, like
he's like, I don't really care.
You have to really just be able to brush it off at this point, and I think PewDiePie is a good example of being able to do that.
Well, when she reaches a certain level, like you're just going to be bombarded with so much negative attention by comparison to the positive attention, you can't do anything about it. So
yeah.
All right, Madonna. So
She's taking a stand against misogyny.
I call her out for like Helen Keller not being pop culture, and then I bring up Madonna, who's literally ancient. So
do we have to talk about history again?
So basically, she's
an incorruptible body.
We talk about how it's hilarious how they're making documentaries about people that are still alive now. Well, Madonna's taking it one step further. Not only are they making a documentary about her, she's just going to make it herself. So
perfect.
I think it's so distasteful to like
this.
have an active hand in a biopic about yourself. Like, you should be dead.
Queen just did it.
Be sweet if she did it and made herself look bad on purpose. Like,
I
really,
mean,
that would be cool.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
She'll make herself look bad on accident.
Like, but that's not that's bad. That's stupid though. I want her to do it on purpose.
I like Julia Garner.
You're right. She'll do it on. She's selling NFTs of centipedes coming out of her.
Yep.
We covered that.
Yeah. So
I wish we hadn't.
Like the whole time we're doing it,
saw her give birth to a tree.
The pictures are on the screen, and I'm like this. I'm like.
Please no.
I don't want to look at it. So basically, it says in a recent interview with Variety, Madonna asked for an update on The Little Sparrow, which is being co-written by Diablo Cody. She did Juno, right? I believe she did Juno.
Okay.
So starring Ozark and the Americans' great Julia Garner as the Queen of Pop, and she does look a lot like her.
Julia Garner.
Says
she was also Anna Delvey in Inventing Anna.
So she's taking all the
female maybe she's
spots.
overdoing the biopic.
Yeah.
roles.
Oh, she does look like her. Yeah. Wow.
She says, "I've had an extraordinary life. I must make an extraordinary film. It was also a preemptive strike because a lot of people were trying to make movies about me, mostly misogynistic men. She eventually decided to put her foot down and said, no one is going to tell my story but me. Okay. I'm way more excited about the Weird Al Yankovic biopic coming out.
They're making that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Daniel Radcliffe plays Weird Al Yankovic.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
They're making a biopic of literally everybody.
Did you see
Everyone who's ever existed.
Did you ever see the old
biopic.
humor.com version of the with Aaron Paul plays Weird Al Yankovic in a fake biopic about Weird Al?
I feel like I have. That's back in the day, though.
Olivia
Wilde.
Olivia Wilde plays Madonna, and she says, "I can't believe you said that," and does this in the thing. And it's really, really funny. Like that type of humor, which was so much more organic at the time. There's no way it will come off that funny now. But if anybody deserves one, it's Weird Al Yankovic. Weird Al Yankovic is incredible.
I thought the Queen one was really well done.
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody. I haven't seen the Elton John one.
I like the Elton one better.
Yeah,
than the Queen
really?
one.
I'm gonna have to watch it. I really like Elton John. I'm obsessed.
No,
There's a David Bowie one in the works.
Yellow Brick Road is the best song.
Best song ever written.
And we just had the Elvis one.
Elton John.
Have they done like a Billy Joel one? He's my favorite.
Ooh, no, but they did Eddie and the Cruisers, which is kind of like Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel put together. You know about that?
No.
Oh, Eddie and the
I'll have to watch
Cruisers.
that.
You guys, it's
my
better
favorite
music
song
than those
is
guys.
Vienna.
Oh, that's a great song. Yeah.
And also, Elton John is releasing a re-recorded version of Tiny Dancer with Britney Spears.
Stop.
Really?
I have hated it. Elton John did all these new music videos, and then he did his whole like COVID album with Dua Lipa or whatever. It's been tragic. It's like just boomers, y'all need to, age gracefully, just like disappear, let your work speak for itself. Like stop trying to hold on so tight. You're
Madonna's like every 5 years she comes back with like whoever the newest pop stars of the day.
It does something.
She is a grifter. You gotta give her that. Like she's good at it.
She literally looks like she's being held together by like masking tape now.
Have you seen her new, like, I hate to like even say this sentence, but like the butt pics that she uploaded were like shocking. It was terrifying. It wasn't even shocking. Like, ew, you look. It was like we have entered a new era. Has science gone too far? Yeah, exactly.
Great. And here's the adrenochrome we were talking about.
It's like when we were talking about Britney Spears. Like, but at least she had them what looked to be professionally taken. Britney Spears just posts nude photos like with her like.
For like iPhone 5.
It's like an iPhone 5.
She hasn't left that era. She's still living in it.
I am continuously shocked by how bad the camera is that she takes pictures of herself with. Like it's like that thing where like she doesn't clean the lens off, and it's like it's not on a tripod.
It's in like horrible lighting.
It's on.
She's
it's like against
got, like,
a couch
sparkle
cushion
case with like the little. Remember the little charms you used to be able to tie to the side of your cell phone? And
I don't remember that.
It's
but
probably
you were in that era. Yeah, I had an antenna on my phone, and I could put a little charm in the corner and use T9.
Probably bedazzled, and she props it up against a couch and like runs backwards to take the picture. Like that's Britney Spears now. And every time I see it, it feels somehow like I'm like, yes, she's old. She's but it's like it feels worse.
Yeah, no, every video is a case for a conservatorship.
They all look like hostage videos too.
Yeah, they
and
really
she's like
do.
literally just the whole time, and like the cameras, it's like an up angle, and she's just like got her hands behind her back, and she
spins around. It looks like she's
high as
sick.
heck. Like, oh my gosh, it's so weird. What is going on?
I thought the end of the conservatorship would be the end of like these mentally damaging drugs, but she's still
she might
on
be
shit,
thoroughly damaged, even if she's off them.
Like,
but maybe she's having a good time.
But
maybe. I'm happy for her either way.
Free Britney was literally the last time this culture was united. Like that was the last time America actually tended to agree.
I don't know. I didn't like how a lot of grifters hopped onto the Free Britney train, and then like once the conservatorship was dissolved, they were like, okay, I don't care about this person anymore.
Well, we were talking about yesterday. I was like, we're like, she's making all these bad decisions. All this stuff keeps happening. I'm like, but is it not her right to make these?
I don't know, because she's frozen in time to like when she became famous, which is her childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not really making her own decisions. I can't celebrate her having independence when it's like a child.
She's a hostage to herself
and a husband.
2003. Also, with at that level of fame, even older, like the amount of money involved, there's going to be people that want something from you all the time. You will never actually be free of people.
Thankfully, she has a really good prenup.
Yes, her husband doesn't get any money if they get divorced. So that is good.
Yay!
All right, and to make who is it Hobbit? Who's it that's always talking about our?
Oh yeah, it's Hobbit.
Yeah. Hobbit
we
is going to
finished the count.
He is going to be very happy to hear that the trolling of Amber Heard continues with Comic-Con goer.
I thought we weren't allowed to talk about her. Isn't that like one of the names?
We're allowed.
We're allowed.
We're just defying him.
We don't want to give him the satisfaction.
Yeah.
But basically, there was a time on YouTube when all videos with Amber Heard got demonetized, so they had to like call her AH and like not
before it became lucrative.
She was Voldemort. It was like the crappy actress who must not be named. Like so basically, somebody showed up at Comic-Con dressed as Amber Heard as Mira with a poop hat on.
We love to see it,
and I love to see it. It's the photo is honestly kind of incredible, but if I can have it here, did they censor it? Nope, there it is.
Yep.
I don't know, man. It's like at this point, it's like kicking a dead horse. I just don't.
I feel that way too. It's very like out of the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Already, but Comic-Con was like timed just right.
Well, and we talked about how bad it must be for DC and Warner Brothers to have hired all these people that they literally can't market
advertise
around.
anything that's coming.
Ezra Miller, nope, can't advertise the Flash. Aquaman 2. Can't advertise it because of Amber Heard. Also, Jason Momoa got in a head-on collision with a motorcycle. I was like, who the hell broke a mirror or stepped under a ladder at Warner Brothers, and how did they reverse it? How do they reverse it and actually just get people that stay out of trouble? But they can't seem to do it because Ezra Miller is like too busy, like running his compound with his drugs and children and guns and
people are getting messed
He's building
up.
a small army. I think this is like the start of a civil war.
I hope so.
I mean, everyone against Ezra Miller.
You can have him and Jared Leto start a cult together.
Dude, Jared Leto already has a cult. He could just bring him on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He can be second in charge and take over.
His right-hand man.
Maybe Ezra Miller's secretly a Scientologist.
Yeah.
Let's look into that.
But he would be bad publicity for them.
He would be very
True.
Yeah, they would have.
Tom Cruise is like a very inoffensive guy.
Yes,
he's all
he is.
smiles.
Yeah.
Ezra is like unhinged. You never know what he's gonna do, who he's gonna beat up.
Keep me on your toes.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I laughed at all of it until the stuff about kids. That stuff effed up. But like before, when he was just throwing chairs at women in bars, I'm like, well, maybe he just hated that lady's
Happens
karaoke.
to the best of us.
I was like, maybe he just really hates karaoke,
and
or
like
just
fair
that
enough.
woman was just really bad at singing some Joan Jett song, and he's like, not on my watch, and he threw a chair.
Did you see
at her.
it? I'm sure you guys saw his arrest video.
Yes.
Though, where
Yes.
he's like,
Yep.
I am a non-binary person.
He said, I'm non-binary transgender.
And
I
wanna-
demand that a female officer pat me down.
That's evil. Like I said, that's evil.
I honestly, that's gonna be like a whole new thing.
Dude.
Guys going out like, I demand a female officer.
Well,
Check me
the
out.
one
In
man
slow
was just-
motion with this song on. No.
And I'm definitely storing something.
No.
The one guy was just in prison and got two. The one transgender gentleman was just in prison and got two women pregnant. And
Yeah.
they had to move him to another. Ezra's like, well,
Unbelievable.
Ezra's like, he's gonna pull way more. When
You
he-
gotta-
Female officers are too old for him anyways.
Yes, that's a fair point. Yeah.
You gotta Ezra's just maximizing his time on Clown World. Like, if we're gonna live in this ridiculous age, you might as well take
He's kind of
maximum
like
advantage.
the Joker from the movie Joker.
Oh, got him.
I enjoyed
So
all
true,
of his.
Queen.
I enjoyed all of his antics until the creepy stuff with kids, and then I started to get
Yeah.
angry because it felt like
But
the
then
only
there
people,
are even aspects of that I cannot help but laugh at, like the cowboy costume.
Yeah. Well, it feels
Like,
like
what is going on?
It feels like
dude?
mental illness Mad Libs, where it's like, and then he came back with a cowboy costume on. You're like, did this writer just make this up and he knows we
Right?
can't check? Like,
Yeah.
He's like they're getting to the point where they're trying to write something factual, but the facts are so ridiculous that they're like, I can't help but add a little bit onto the end, and the editor's like, could you punch it up a little bit? And he's like,
Yeah.
and then he came back in a cowboy costume.
The
They're like-
writers for this season
Sounds
of
like him.
America were a bit wildin'.
Love it.
They're like, sounds like him. Keep it in there. Like he can't. What's Ezra going to come out and say? I did not come out in a cowboy costume. I only said the stuff about about the racially insensitive nature of what was the game that they were playing. It was like some board game, and he's like, you can't play that game.
Oh, Parcheesi.
Parcheesi.
He was mad about the what was it? The Rastafarian roots of Parcheesi.
And another
being
lady goes,
overlooked.
and the lady at
true
the
crisis.
at the house says, like, I was traveling with my tribe, and he says, you can't say that. That's cultural appropriation. It is a time to be alive, my friends.
It is a time.
We live in a
It's a time.
society.
It's definitely
It is
a
in
time.
fact a time.
Super Jets.
Hobbit said, you know, if they made Lord of the Rings movies now, Sam and Frodo would be gay, Eowyn would be black, and Gandalf would come back as a rainbow instead of white.
I'll watch it.
He has a rainbow beard.
That would.
Do you ever
no.
watch the original like cartoon Lord of the
No.
Rings?
No.
No. Okay. Wow. Just me.
I've
didn't know there
seen
was one.
screen caps from it. It's really cute.
It's kind of cute. It's a bit.
Yeah.
It's spookier than somehow. I don't know. The animation is wacky.
If you ever want to see something incredible, watch the behind the scenes stuff about how they made Lord of the Rings, like all the scenes with the elves and stuff like that. It's all done in camera. That's all done on set.
the behind the scenes
Yeah.
stuff is crazy.
It's absolutely incredible. Like the amount
It
of
would be
detail.
so hard to act in that.
When we talk about like how like everything feels soulless now because CGI is just
Yeah.
their Band-Aid fix to everything, there was so much more care and love and passion into making those movies, and it's why it came across as authentic.
Did you see the behind the scenes for when they were filming Gandalf first coming to Bilbo's house? They built two separate sets and rotated them because they needed the size difference.
It's
and then
incredible.
the table, they literally had it at two different like heights for where Gandalf was sitting, and they had to get the angles perfect. It was just like crazy. The
blew my mind the
intelligence
first time
it
that
would
I
take
saw
to
that.
make this, and filming everything twice. Holy.
It's like when I told you the story about Christopher Nolan explaining Inception to people, and he's got like 4 blackboards, and he's trying to explain to these college kids who are like, I don't freaking know.
These are like 700 IQ people that none of us can relate to, and they just are alone in their own poor, sad little worlds making art.
The Oppenheimer trailer, I showed you the Oppenheimer trailer earlier.
Yeah.
The first look at Oppenheimer that
Looks
they just
cool.
released looks really good, and they've got it like on a live. It's on like a live account, so every time it replays, it keeps counting down the days until the release of the movie. It looks really, really good. Cillian Murphy's playing Robert J. Oppenheimer.
Cool.
Yep.
Love that.
And he's Warner Brothers. Like I said about Warner Brothers, we can't get Ezra Miller right. We can't get Amber Heard right. They screwed up Tenet and they lost Christopher Nolan. Just Warner Brothers, just L's all around. Just L, L, L.
Did you guys watch Wheel of Time? I read all the books when I was
I did
younger.
not read it,
no, okay, never mind. You guys read fantasy books?
No, not usually.
Okay.
I read
come on a
C.S.
pop
Lewis
show.
and
It's the first
Tolkien.
one. So did I. I really liked the Killing Killer Chronicles, but I've been waiting for the last one for like years.
Did you read the Space Trilogy?
No.
I've been thinking for a long time that needs to be adapted into film, but like the right way. And I don't think anyone's capable of it anymore. Caper2X said, Mary can sing and dance. Brett, what can you do? Where have I proven that I can sing and dance?
I have never seen Mary sing nor dance. Therefore,
What?
I am offended by that. I skated professionally for several years, so I can do that.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, you have something.
interesting.
That's that right there. That's something to behold.
Thank you.
It's not obvious.
It's not
That
obvious.
is something.
It's not obvious.
Nathan Koss said, when you build a culture around violence, you get a lot more violence. Look at the inner cities now.
Yeah, like he's talking about like when we were talking about the Young Thug.
Yeah.
The topic, like it's. But the thing is, there is a weird separation there that I think about because.
Thank you.
Was that the heck? Was that a third one? Oh my
That
gosh.
scared you?
The PTSD is, she's triggered.
It's happened twice already. I thought you would be prepared.
Listen,
I was somebody's
Trauma
pointing
never
out
goes
to me
away.
like they're like
yeah.
when we listen to rap music, we listened ironically because we grew up. I
Thank
grew up
you.
in the I wasn't rich, but I grew up in the poor area of a suburb, right? Like when I lived by the local workhouse that was there, but it became a bigger suburb down the line. But there is a disconnect that you don't really understand the world that they're explaining to you, but you wanted to because it felt cool to you. And like to them, I can see where they take it as an insult. Like what you think of as cool was my life growing up that I fueled to turn into art. Right?
Yeah, I think a lot of them also think of it as cool though too. Like if you meet people who live that lifestyle, they kind of miss it.
Like they would only take that offense to you thinking
everything's
that.
high stakes.
Yep.
High stakes.
Yep.
Nathan Koss said, people don't listen to politicians, they listen to musicians and actors.
That's
why we're here.
That's literally
why we're here.
when I was pitching, like when we were talking about the show, like and we were talking originally, it was just going to be like reviews and all this stuff. I was like, look, the like AOC is an idiot, but she's not reaching the amount of people that Kim Kardashian or any of these other celebrities who push the same CNN talking points. Nobody watches CNN, but they listen to these celebrities, and that's why it's important to at least know what's going on from their perspective.
Mm-hmm. Michael Huffman said, Lauren, just watched your 3-hour documentary. You rock.
Thank you. I felt personally attacked when we were all talking about not making a documentary on yourself.
No, not a
was like,
documentary,
oof.
a biopic.
Biopic.
If you made a
That's a
biopic about
drama-
yourself,
a
I think I'd draw the
dramatization.
line.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Way totally
All right,
different.
fine.
thing.
I could have hired. What's the girl who plays Little Miss Sunshine?
I don't know.
She's in Scream Queens. Nope, no one watched that. What's her name?
No, I watched it. There was Emma Roberts, Ariana Grande, Keke Palmer was in Scream Queens. You didn't know who Keke Palmer was?
No, but I did watch Scream Queens.
Abigail.
Toni Col-
Abigail Breslin.
Abigail
People
Breslin.
say.
I've
they
heard
love
of
her,
her.
Abigail
so
Breslin,
I'd get her to
dude?
play me. Yeah.
Yeah, she does kind of look like you. I remember her from like this 5 Seconds of Summer music video that was like personally aimed against her.
What?
Yeah, she made a music video, first of all, against one of the members of 5 Seconds of Summer that she like.
Wait, she makes music?
She made a song. I forget what it was called.
Why does everyone have to like go out of their lane for a minute?
Yeah.
A lot of like
No, I watch interviews where she's like with Ariana Grande and she clearly hates her guts. Like she clearly hates Abigail Breslin so much.
a lot of actors end up in music because they do theater and there's a lot of singing and
Abigail Breslin, You Suck. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's that one.
Okay, never mind. She's not hired for the role anymore. Right.
It's kind of a bop though.
It's kind of a bop.
Yeah. Yeah.
It slaps, as the kids say.
No cap.
No cap.
Bussin'. It's
It's
bussin'.
straight
It's
bussin'.
No,
busting.
on
busting.
God. On
For
God.
real, for
My hair
real?
isn't curly enough to
No
say on
kidding.
7
God.
years ago.
Hobbit said, Lauren, play clips from YouTube. Brett, growing concern.
Well, if this episode gets demonetized, we know why.
There you go. Chad Mobley said, Lauren, my main girl, hard eyes. Love you all.
It's a boy, but that's okay.
Halls the Kid said, don't forget to super chat at the end for a hostage crisis. Also, go check out season 2 of Inverted World.
Yes.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you for shilling. What else we got?
So I'm looking
here?
at this Abigail Breslin music video. This is, if you break up with someone, never do this. There's nothing that says I'm over him, like
making an entire
making a
song
whole new
about
song
and having
in a
someone
whole new
play him
genre.
in the music video.
There's like
I am so over him.
The meme about 22 songs later, Taylor Swift figured out she might actually be the problem. Like it lists all the songs that she's made about men, and it's like maybe I'm the problem.
Now we won't stand for Taylor Swift slander here.
I am fine with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
John McGuire said Tim or Ian needs a voice of God microphone and camera in his studio that he can join the stream and chime in. That would be
That's
so
too much
creepy.
power. That's too much power. We are not
if
giving
we
him
start covering something a little too political, he's like,
change topics.
Oops.
hate that.
I was a bad guest.
Oops. No, you're good. Hobbit said, you're a weird Al Harry.
You're a weird Al, Harry.
Hate that. What else we got? Hobbit said, your defiance feeds me. Generic villain laugh. Bobcat said, Warner really needs to let those crazy kids out of the water tower.
You know, maybe a bunch of executives just did a bunch of heinous stuff, and it's just karma coming back around like a freaking boomerang.
Maybe, but that would happen to Marvel too, right?
I mean, theoretically, but Warner Brothers has been around longer than Marvel has as a company. Disney, maybe. Disney's definitely awful, but, you know.
What else we got?
How many can
Chase says, need Lauren on every episode.
Well, you gonna move here?
I'm mentally ill, but sure.
Perfect.
You think you can handle it?
You can live in our closet over there.
Actually, there's a lot of cozy beanbag chairs to sleep on here.
I have many
She
times.
takes offense to
Yeah.
that. She does not like the beanbags.
Oh, man.
Look,
That was
people
my
have
bed
slept
for
on
like
them.
months.
People have slept on them, and I draw the line. Okay.
Okay, it's me, and that's offensive.
And not just you. Not just you. Seamus did it.
She
too.
said,
Yeah,
there's
I
like
know.
Seamus
I
stuff
can't.
all
I
over
got
this, all over
Sloppy's
this chair.
second beanbag from Seamus
Hate
too.
it.
Yeah.
Bad App said Black Elves straight out of the Shire. That's funny. Supra Guy said, "What a fun episode."
And that was he
Isn't
gave
it?
us the third crisis party.
Oh,
so
thank you for that.
Crisis party.
We're gonna have
Sorry.
a hostage
I
party.
want to see how
soon.
many we can get
Chad
here.
Mobley said,
trying.
"Lauren, I'm not Canada. You can be your true self around me.
So true.
You can be a woman
Constant
here. This is
suppression.
a safe space."
It is a safe
Oh yeah, I
space.
am. Yeah,
how
I
much
am a
how much
man
money
in
do you
Canada.
have on your head right now?
I don't know.
100,000,
I'm
I think.
I'm so rich right now. I'm not even counting. We're
You
getting
just
there.
leave it until it all falls. Hannah Claire once filled the entire microphone up with money that one time.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's also landed in people's coffee cups.
Was there any chats that you found particularly? You looked very interested in the chat earlier, so I thought maybe there were some chats there that you thought were worth mentioning.
Alex Diaz is asking, "Is Tim still doing a Miss Marvel review?" He said he might do it to dunk on it. I mean, if he wants to do it on our behalf.
Yes, I got through the one episode, and
I
it just
can't.
very clearly wasn't something that I cared about. So
I didn't know
Make
he
this a
said he would
competition.
review that though.
I don't
It's
remember
not
that one.
Push it
something
all to
he
the-
would usually do. Someone said Lauren looks like Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, that too. I had
I
someone.
kind of see that.
I was with a film crew in Toronto, and we were filming, and I had people coming up to me asking me if I was her, and they wanted photos with me, so I just said sure.
Yes.
You're like, yes, I'm
Good.
Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah,
I am
totally.
It's like fake Drake. You know
Fake Drake.
Fake Drake.
Yeah.
The guy who goes to all the nightclubs and just
Yeah,
pretends to be
generic
Drake.
brand. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys great. All right, Lauren, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Your
We
prize
should
is
leave
all
the
money.
stream going.
I can't believe
till
I
she's
get
done.
to take home all this money. This is so great.
Well, while
so
becoming
thoughtful of you guys.
While becoming richer, tell everyone where they can find you and what you got going on.
You can find me at Lauren_Southern on Twitter.com, or you can just look up my name on the YouTubes, Lauren Southern. Check me out there.
Shane.
Yeah.
And make sure you shill.
Yeah, I know. I'm bad at all that. I'm Shane Cashman everywhere, and I appreciate the immense response we've been getting from Inverted World Season 2 and it being on Timcast. I'm used to getting, I was about to curse, I'm used to getting death threats from the last 2 books I wrote. So I really appreciate all the nice things you all been saying, and we're about to release my favorite episode so far, I think, that we've ever written for our Inverted World. So that's coming out Sunday at 10 a.m. on timcast.com. And thanks again for all the messages I've been getting. And thanks for having me on, guys. It was fun. It was an honor to be here with you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Awesome.
Mary, there were some super chats there.
Yeah, Bad App, I'm not reading that. Samuel Morgan said, first time viewer, I normally watch IRL and I honestly expected this to be boring, pleasantly surprised.
Well, that's what you get.
Thanks, I guess.
That's what you get when you just assume. It makes an ass of you.
We're
and me.
better than IRL.
We're
getting too big for our britches.
Shots fired.
This is when the voice comes in.
Yeah.
Change topic.
Not true.
It just does the Amber Alert sound on the big speaker.
Did you see the thing during the Amber Heard trial where an Amber Alert kept going off while they were trying to test it while they were doing the test?
That's a bad omen.
That's a bit.
Wow.
It's like Warner Brothers with all their bad luck. It just follows all of them. All right, where can they find you, Mary?
There's another one. Hobbit said, hostage party. How high can Lauren stack paper?
We just leave it
I was
playing.
working on it. All right.
Well, you lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start from scratch, I guess.
Yep.
You can find me on Instagram or WeChat at Closer Kitty, and whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them there.
And there was one more from Halls and the Kid says
hostage party. No, you can't keep us here forever.
They can try.
Halls and the Kid. Yeah, what up?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Friend of the show.
All right, guys. If you wanna follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic. For the show, we are here Monday through Friday on YouTube, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would like to listen rather than watch, but why would you do that? You wouldn't be able to see Lauren put a bunch of money on
circus act.
Why would you want to do that? But if you did want to do that, you could listen on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, all that good stuff. We're on social media, Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisispod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.